Oh, there we are. Awesome. Mic is working. That's a good start to the stream. Hello and welcome. I think it's been like 11 days since the last stream. I need to live up to what's on the whiteboard, goddammit. You know, Romania is supposed to mean more streams for you guys. I'll get into a little bit of what I've been doing the past like 11 days. Part of it is like the Sneako research I was doing for the review we did. I wanted it to be thorough and I wanted it to have history from like his other talks. But the problem is that is a runway that is constantly like, you know, moving forward infinitely in one direction. He's been on so much stuff that it's not really feasible to have background on everything that he's doing and to do what I wanted to do with the review. So we're in a mode where I need to be looking at minimum viable product and just realize that I should probably just do the one review that I could do solidly, which is the conversation he had with Steven. I believe it's the second one they did together, not the most recent Fresh and Fit. Although if you guys want to, I mean, we could look at it. Initially, what I'm thinking is we'll do that proper review within the next week, maybe within the next like few days, because it's basically ready to go. And then depending on the interest in that particular review, we might just have some like donation stretch goals or something to cover more of it if that's something that people want. We could also kind of pivot and talk about this whole red pill movement that's happening more broadly. Alternatively, we could also pivot to talk a little bit more about Steven's kind of interactions that he's had lately with these kinds of like red pill folks and with other kind of right-leaning figures like Nick Fuentes. We could definitely do all of that. But another thing that I want to do more of, that the audio is off. It shouldn't be. The audio is off. Let me check on YouTube real quick. Let me see. Oh, yeah, it's using the wrong mic. Okay. Let me fix that for you. Okay, this should be a little bit better. I'll check again on YouTube. Hopefully this is better. I'm sorry about that. Initially, the mic wasn't on when I started, and then I clicked one button and it all turned on, and I just assumed it was good to go. That's my bad. Yeah, okay, that's way better. Got your finger on the pulse, book. All that sounds good. Yeah, I'm happy you think so. But yeah, another thing I want to do is I kind of want to have more fun streams. Twitch sound quality just got way better. Yeah, it was using my webcam microphone and not the expensive microphone. There's a lot going on in life right now. Actually, you know what? I should just skip this. We should just get straight up into the talks with you guys. I don't think we need a waiting screen for today. How is the lighting looking? There we go. That's focused a little bit better. I think the camera is struggling a little bit with focus, but you know, I think it's fine. Yeah, so basically I've spent a lot of time working on commissioned work because a huge part of the Romanian thing, and again, it's on the board behind me, you can see some indications of it, is I want to save money and make sure that like I'm all set to go and better financially off at the end of this Europe trip than the beginning of it, which I have been up to this point. I've been a very good boy. But that's been in large part thanks to the hosts and stuff, saving me money on like accommodations and whatever. But, you know, I've reached my tipping point, party people. I want to have a life that involves more money than what I make. So what I'm doing is instead of, you know, agonizing over how to do the stream in such a way to make more money and, you know, monetize it and whatever, I'm going to kind of try to focus less on that and try to like get some real work that actually like pays like regular wages and stuff, and then have most of my efforts focused on the real work for wages and stuff, and just have more fun with this. Because if I have fun with this, I could probably stream more and that's going to help us more. And I'll probably end up making more money in the end and agonizing less over every review and everything. So, you know, I figure I'll keep trying in the background to spend hours on like commissioned work or finding a job. Actually, there's a project that recently kind of fell into my lap that I may try and pursue being a part of, which would involve like a regular job. So there's just quite a few things. I'm basically taking up and looking for every opportunity I could find to like do work. So if you have a use for me, you know, whether it's my copywriting skills, my essay writing, you know, stuff, project management, advice, private reviews, whatever, I will remind you, you can use !work to get all my contact information and get my rates for private commission stuff. We have had some people doing that lately, which is super duper cool, because it's a way to kind of contribute to the channel that will like directly impact it and help me, but I can also directly give something back to you as an individual. So if there's some Ben Shapiro debate between him and some obscure person and you want me to cover it and there's no way I would cover it on stream, you can commission that. If you had your own debate, your own argument with somebody and you have a recording of it and you want me to take a look and talk with you about it, I'm more than willing to. So I'm going to do that stuff. I'm also going to kind of try to, I don't know, just I'm trying to be more, oh boy, this is going to be a deep stream. I feel like it's already getting there. So, there was definitely a Booksmarts pre-Booksmarts, if you know what I mean. So like before I started doing Twitch and stuff, I feel like I had like myself figured out to a large degree. I had like a pretty monumental change in like my life outlook and like a really big refocusing when I used to live in the van, which if you didn't know, basically the story of me maybe a year before stream is that I was living with some people in a house and I wanted to change of pace. So I bought a van. I moved out of that place. I lived in the van for like a year or something like that. I traveled around the US. I did my essay writing work and, there was a slight dip in the essay writing work and I started watching more of Destiny and I thought I could give some advice to Destiny about what he was doing for fun. And then after that, the people responded well to, I think, a few of the talks that I did with Steven. So I decided to start streaming. Initially, the idea was to do tutoring for people every Tuesday and call it Tutor Tuesday and help people with homework or give essay writing advice or create pieces on how I like to think about like our intellectual life. So, I think a lot of us want to pride ourselves on being smart, intelligent people who are well-read and all these other things. But I think that like where I had the blessing of working in essay writing, which taught me a lot of skills that, really, really helped me to, develop that part of me, that part of my personality, that part of my knowledge base. I think a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people, especially I learned through tutoring, don't have teachers that help them with that stuff. So initially what I wanted to do was take a lot of what I had learned in doing essay writing and doing tutoring and the problems that I know that people run into and basically bringing those problems up on stream. And at a certain point in my streaming career, there was this interesting place we were at where like we were still small. I wasn't making like a lot, but I was making kind of just enough to like survive and sustain myself without needing to do papers and whatever. And we had a steady inflow of people writing into the stream through the email, booksmarts.twitch@gmail.com, which you can still write to. I love receiving emails. But we had a good mix between the YouTube comments section, that email, my Discord DMs, and my commissioned work. And through all of that, kind of learning what you guys liked about the stream, what was helpful to hear, and learning what was helpful for people in private sessions, I brought a lot of those themes back to the stream. And so if I would learn, for instance, during a tutoring session that maybe people have a hard time understanding the idea of notes with a purpose. Notes should always be something generally should generally be something that you're going to review later, right? And if that was a concept that was profound to somebody that I talked to in tutoring, then I would take a note of that and I would bring it forward on the stream. And beyond that, I had a very like rich, like intellectual life before I really got into doing tons of reviews and stuff. Because even at the time that I started streaming, I was still doing a lot of the things in my intellectual life to kind of keep myself sharp. So I was still reading lots of studies on different topics, doing my own research and my own papers for free on random topics that I liked, because I just feel like the essay writing process where I'm taking notes, turning those notes into like actionable bullet points which explain what I'm learning about the topic or how I would communicate it to people. I felt like that whole process really helped synthesize a deep understanding of the thing it was that I was trying to read and learn about. And, you know, I thought that I could just flip that process onto the debates and stuff that were so popular on the website, and people like the debate reviews and the process and obviously the result of the process. But the way I look at it, having to be the person who does the work, I look at it as you guys like the process, because ultimately the result is directly linked to it, right? Like there isn't like a ton of polish that went into the debate reviews beyond just the process I would use for taking notes and synthesizing them into arguments and then presenting those to you guys as if it was an essay. So basically I would watch the whole conversation, take all of my notes, review the notes, look at, hey, these are the three things that like repeat over and over again, put those three things as my thesis message, deliver it to you guys, and then go back and connect it to all of the evidence. So if I saw 3 instances where somebody is calling somebody else a mean name and it results in a steady degradation of the quality of the conversation, then I would go back and I would say, hey, this person's insults degraded the conversation, such as at this point and at this point and at this point, and things got progressively worse. So it's just the entire process in reverse to deliver the information to you guys. And that's still true today. There's more polish in terms of doing a too long didn't watch thing at the beginning so that my editor will have a nice like 20 or 30 minute video to post on the YouTube for people that aren't gonna watch a 8-hour VOD, right? But for the most part, the processes remain the same. That's all to say, and to bring it back to that intellectual life bit that I was explaining, as time went on, rather than having essay writing projects or tutoring projects or personal interests that I was using this process on, I was only using it on debates. And the unfortunate thing in this space is that you don't learn a lot from the debates that are happening. I think the conversations I learned the most from were debates involving people that you guys might not even find particularly interesting. I mean, Steven, of course, is researched in things, so we could learn something watching his debates, but other people I learn a lot from, like Econo Boy, Rage Pope, Rose Wrist at times, Loner Box. I felt like there was less of a good reception to those, because in the case of maybe like Econo Boy or Rage Pope, it can be less entertaining to watch them. That's no mark on them. In my previous life as an essay writer, I would value them a lot more as creators than some of the other people that get a lot of attention, i.e. maybe Dima Mama, or at times even Vosh, right? Or, you know, to pick somebody on the right, perhaps not Rob Nor, because he brings up facts and stuff. Maybe I would pick somebody like Lecture Fan. So, you know, a lot of the things that were more popular weren't necessarily going to be the things I would learn a lot from. At times, yeah, at times. You know, it wasn't always. Thanks. I'm happy to hear it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Vinny, for the $5. That's rad of you. I'll go ahead and reflect it in the dono goal because unfortunately on the platform we're using for donation goals, it doesn't update them when I have a super chat from YouTube. Thank you. I do appreciate that. I'm happy you've been enjoying it for a month and you're finally able to catch one live. If you have any questions for me, just ask. I'm like pretty on top of the chat. Look at both of them at the exact same time because they're treated the same in my eyes. So, you know, when I continued to use this tool only on these conversations, and these conversations aren't really nourishing me in any kind of way, I constantly was aware of and noting to you guys on stream, I feel like I'm getting dumber. I feel like I'm getting duller, because the fact is, if you're not practicing on that kind of intellectual quest, if you're not constantly trying to add new information or use your ability to recall on the information and memories that you've already built up, the system starts to get rusty. It becomes more difficult to remember things because you're not constantly using them. One of the bits of advice that I gave very early on in my streaming career to people who are working in academia or working in research or trying to better themselves or learn a skill is to constantly mull over the ideas and things that you're learning when you're out in the world, because you'll begin to associate those memories and those ideas and concepts with other things that are happening in your life. It's going to reinforce your ability to recall those things, and it's going to get you more used to situations in which you would use those principles. So if for instance, you're like a project manager and you're thinking about, aspects of project management, like how do you organize people? What are the things that kind of fall through in project management? And you're constantly thinking about that. You might start tying that to stuff you see every day. You might see an inefficiency at the grocery store in the way that a manager talks to one of their subordinates, and you might note that. Or you might hear somebody complaining about a coworker at work, and that's reminding you of something you learned about HR practices, right? So if you're on the lookout for these things and you're keeping them fresh in your mind, you're going to kind of establish those and get good use of those. And for me, through tutoring and stuff, it really kept my communication skills honed, because I was constantly aware of concepts like the expert-novice divide, which we talked a lot about in the early months of streaming, talking about how when you're standing in a place where you understand a lot about a topic and you're talking to somebody who doesn't, you need to be acutely aware of that relationship, that kind of to borrow a Twitterism, that power imbalance between you and that person. You don't want to take advantage of that. You want to be understanding of it and try to build a bridge and realize at what elevation below me is this person understanding the concept, because I need to know point A, where I am, which I know fairly well, and point B, where the other person is, which you're going to know less well, right? So figure out point B, figure out where the person is at through insightful questions and understanding, and then begin to work out the plan of how to get them from B to A. And it may be that that is an insurmountable gap. It could be that the amount of reinforced steel required to build such a bridge just simply doesn't exist on this planet. And if that's the case, then you need to kind of reevaluate what you're trying to do. Maybe you're not trying to get them from B to A. Maybe you're trying to get them from B upwards like 100 feet, because that's the most that you can do. And then you're kind of reevaluating how you're operating in the conversation based on that. That's something I really have to consider in tutoring, because I might be tutoring somebody who is a freshman in college who still has a sixth grader's understanding of mathematics. If they have a sixth grader's understanding of mathematics, I can't treat them as if they're a senior in high school and talk to them that way, right? So what are you elbow coughing about? What is going on here? While you commentated on Twitch politics, I studied the blade. Nice. I'm happy you did. Booksmarts, why are you such a handsome devil? That hair is glorious. Still using Bastiat's hair tips? I'm using none in Bastiat's hair tips, unfortunately. I think I really need to go get a haircut, actually, but I'm happy you think so. Aha, he doesn't know? I don't know what. F? I don't... Are we effing? Hello? You can hear me? Wait, what's going on with the stream? Why don't you just tell me? What? I think your hair looks good. I hear you. I feel like everybody else is on some other shit that I don't understand. Is there something wrong with the stream? Just tell me and I'll fix it. I guess I'll have to watch it live because nobody's going to let me in on the joke. Bro, you're good? Then why? Why are you tripping me out then? Okay, whatever. What? I'm still watching it on you guys fucking suck. I hate you. Okay. Here I am ranting and I'm so worried that it's not going anywhere. Anywho, I will cut the rant short because now I've been totally distracted and derailed by you fucking hooligans. Basically what I'm trying to say is, like, I have been
so much more mentally fulfilled, like trying to learn new things about like different opportunities I'm trying to pursue in terms of like private work. And like today I was doing a bunch of studying on a company because I want to try to apply for a job at that company and interview for it and stuff. So like I want to learn about what they do and the technologies that they work in and the people they're working with and the background on the founders and yada yada yada. Like that's a fun way to use all of my note taking and all of my stuff. I have made it through like 200 or 300 pages of Dune, and I'm super duper proud of myself. Like sitting down, actually like exercising my, attention muscles to try and sit down for an hour straight and just read that, not look at my phone, not think about other shit. And it's just been so nice. My main concern is just that days are ticking by without streaming. And so I'm here to kind of break that cycle, because if I don't, I'll stress out about it. Stop elbow coughing me. I'm going to fucking... I am doing a fucking, I'm doing a shenanigans. I'm doing shenanigans on elbow coughing. If I see another elbow cough, I swear to God, if there's not something wrong with the stream, I'll flip out on you. I mean, nobody wants to admit they ate 9 cans of ravioli, but I did. I'm ashamed of myself. The first can doesn't count. Then you get the second and third and fourth and fifth. I'll be honest. In my darkest hour, I've eaten 3 or 4 cans of ravioli. Unironically, no memes. Memes aside, no cap, I've probably eaten in a single sitting 3 or 4 cans of ravioli. I think I have. I think there was a time when I was in the van and I think I had like an edible and I was so fucking baked, and all I had in the van for food after I ate like my last avocado was like a bunch of cans of ravioli, and I just started smashing them. What's even more disgusting is, yes, I ate it cold. I straight up will eat ravioli out of the can with a plastic spoon. Okay? I've had my white trash arc, okay? That's what I'm gonna say, okay? The white half of my racial makeup came out and was on full display during the period of time where I was living in the van. They just like elbow cough because it looks like a dab on the haters. Booksmarts. Yeah, this is what I got to start learning how to do, is dabbing on the haters. And dabbing on all these people telling me the stream is effing when it's not. Were you crying though? Hell no, bro. I loved every minute of it. One time I was making a model and I glued the wing to a B-17 bomber to my bird Jesus, you just keep saying random shit. Ravioli in a can. What is this? Yeah, I think it's like Chef Boyardee. Chef Boyardee, some good ass ravioli. But yeah, like I'm having a real good time focusing on just stuff that I like. I've realized how much of my life has been taken up with streaming, and unfortunately, a lot of streaming is just shit like that I don't look forward to doing. Like when I wake up and I go on YouTube and realize that Sneako has had yet another conversation and I'm further behind on my prep, I'm just like, bruh, tap me out. I just want to go live and finish this. And then giving up on the idea of what I wanted to do is so disappointing and whatever. So, anywho. Oh gosh, what is this? Thanks, dude. I like that it shifted to the other voice there for a second. Content can be different / better. Yeah, it definitely could. I mean, like, here's the thing. It's easier to do this shit when I just don't care if it makes me money or not. So, like, right now, I am hella focused on just making sure I find something else to make money so I don't have to think about that. Like, what really changes your mindset is when make or break, everything relies on, like, one thing to work. And what hurts that even more, like, if it was out of necessity, 100%, I would just figure it out, right? Like, a lot of the people that just keep grinding at streaming, And oftentimes they end up being success stories as well in content creation. They didn't have a lot of other stuff going. Like I think some of the biggest stories we know about that, they're like not educated formally. They don't have a lot of work experience. They can't hold a job, they don't have other talents. Like they've min-maxed life and like they've maximized like being on the internet and stuff. But that's just not like, that's not me. Right. So like I have experience like running a small company, right? I have experience like with high level concepts in psychology, education, and business, and with writing copy and writing essays. I have experience as a ghostwriter on books, on fiction and nonfiction. Like I have experiences that I could leverage to go do other things and get other jobs. And so right now, that's kind of what I'm doing, is like putting feelers out there and talking to people who maybe need work or have mentioned needing work in the past. And I'm just trying to capitalize on all those relationships and see if I can find something that can make me money so that I don't have to make this, that thing. It doesn't mean that I won't try to make money with this, believe me. But what it does mean is like everything doesn't ride on this. So it's not as stressful to do stuff. And I feel like removing that stress might help a lot with this situation. And that's just where I'm at. This is what I'm up to. And it's been going well. Like I said, this morning I had a very, very cool talk. Lots of really good research. I'm hopeful to pursue this lead, and I'll keep working on this stuff, and just in just doing stuff that I enjoy. A lot of the time, commissioned work is stuff I love to do. I love when you guys pay me to help you be better at communicating. I love that. I love giving you advice on like Discord drama that you're having with your friends that you're trying to resolve and figure out, I love getting messages about the business that you work at and the problems you're having with coworkers, or in tutoring, of course. Like if you're struggling with writing something and you want my help with it, like even compared to regular tutors, like $50 an hour is fairly affordable for a tutor that has my level of experience. Like if you're looking for somebody to help tutor you on the SATs or something like that, you're looking at over 100. So like, I like doing that stuff. That stuff is very enjoyable to me. It feels good to put in the work for that. And of course, it's all paid for, which makes the relationship super clear. With stream, it's always a gamble. Like, am I going to put a ton of time and energy into this prep document and then go live and we only have 50 people? Or is it going to be 500 and I'll make a bunch of money? Or, there's just so much uncertainty all the time. And the trend generally for the channel lately, largely due to my own decisions, has been downwards, right? So, it's just like, it's just at some point I need to bend or break. And rather than breaking, I'll bend, okay? I will figure out something else for money, and then I'll slowly build things back up with this. And that's where I'm at with things. Did you ever consider being a therapist/counselor? You'd be pretty good at it. The difficult thing is considering anything that needs formal education. Because of what I did for work before, I'm kind of fucked. In the age of cancel culture, even if I had 110% quit doing papers at all, I could be 3 or 4 years into a degree. I could be like on my 5th or 6th year in my graduate program. And all it takes is for one professor with a hair up their butt who's learned about what I did before to embark upon a personal crusade against me, and I would probably be doomed. I could be 10 or 15 years into my job and have the essay writing thing that I did come back and bite me. That's a huge concern. And when education in our country, the United States, is an investment, oftentimes an investment that you need to take out significant loans for, that leads me into a situation where not only am I investing years of time, not only am I investing a lot of like emotional and like labor energy into it, I'm also investing a ton of money. And if at any point the rug can be pulled under me by one person upset with what I did in the past, it's a gamble that I'm not really, willing to take until I know that that gamble doesn't have odds so stacked in my favor where everything could fall apart in one day. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's money you won't be getting back. Yeah, exactly. What did you do as work before? So before I started streaming, I helped graduate students write their papers and I did tutoring. So if you're working on your thesis or you're working on your master's project or your capstone project, those were clients that I would help. So sometimes that would look like helping them all the way from the beginning with picking a research question that they'll be looking into. And sometimes it would only be on the editing, where they have written the whole draft. They've been getting edit requests back from the people reviewing it for like a year, and they're not getting anywhere. They don't understand what they're doing wrong. They need somebody to come in and sort it out so they don't waste another year of spending money on education to figure that out themselves. So kind of like a tutoring editing position in that case. But, you know, I used to do that. And before that, I wrote essays and stuff for college students. So, you know, my work history is in pretty, you know, ethically dubious territory that could get me in trouble. And that's what I'm talking about here. At Booksmarts, you could have a path to a mea culpa, get it out there. It's not like you did anything really bad with a university that understands the whole thing, and then boom, Booksmarts PhD. The problem is, again, I think right now, it's weird. I feel like, generally speaking, if I were to talk about the modern age in terms of like politics and social order, one theme that comes up again and again is terrorism. And I don't mean to equivocate, I mean to liken the terrorism that happens to achieve political means or send messages to the terrorism that happens kind of in support of cultural narratives or, you know, somebody's frustration getting aired out. I think that we're in a weird age where everybody has been given a lot of power, and they're in a culture that really enables them to do a lot with nefarious things. If somebody were to go to a school tomorrow and open fire at recess on a bunch of grade schoolers, they can be guaranteed that they will have news coverage that will extend continents wide, right? They know that their name will be on the mouths of politicians and news people and the average American, and maybe even the average English-speaking person abroad. And I think that similarly, you know, if you do an awful thing, like try to dox somebody or release private information or a bad moment in their life, you could do a lot of damage to them very immediately, because those same structures in terms of the media, political interest, society's interest at large, helping terrorists, it's also helping these kinds of social terrorists where they'll kind of embark on a campaign to really tear down a single person. And there can be a lot that goes behind that and enables that to do more harm than it would have in a different era, right? There was an era of time where you can move to a different state, go under a different name, and you'll probably be fine, even if you did something bad somewhere else, right? But nowadays, you know, you can kind of be fucked, you know, and you could be fucked at any point in time. And I don't see where or even if that cultural change will go back in the other direction. I think that this is like a genie out of the bottle, and I don't know how the heck we get it back in. It feels to me that we all start to understand, probably through like the Gen Xers or the Gen Z people, probably the Gen Z people, they grow up with the internet and realize that, hey, everybody fucks up, everybody has problems, and everybody grows and changes. Maybe by the time they get older, the cancel culture shit won't be as relevant, because everybody will be like, dude, I've lived my whole life online, and I'll tell you, I could be in trouble for a lot of things if people wanted to do it. So this mutually assured destruction might mean that everybody at once kind of realizes, I could be torn down in the exact same way, so I'm not going to give power to the people trying to do that. And if that culture changes, I think all that kindling for people sparking fires in the woods goes away. And with it, a lot of the blazes that are a result of those kinds of serial arsonists on the internet. And I'm not sure if that'll happen. And if it does, it won't happen for a while. So at this point in time, investing in anything that could be taken out by that just kind of feels bad. Even this platform here, I think about that quite a bit. So for instance, if Destiny tomorrow decided, I really don't like Booksmarts, I think he's this, I think he's that, I think he's this other thing. And I'm a do a stream where I'm gonna just go through some of his VODs and clips, and I'm gonna create a narrative to make that point. He could absolutely destroy me. I would be done. It wouldn't be fun to be online anymore, and I would have to quit. So even with this job, like, that exists. Honest to God, even if another creator that's bigger than me just decided to make it their MO to fuck me all the time, they could probably make it uncomfortable enough for me that I would just have to quit this. And, you know, staking my hopes and my dreams on that kind of stuff feels very, very shaky for me. So, like, going back into private industry and working privately is something that is very appealing to me. And that's why also I'm kind of investing some time there. I don't want my money tied up in that, you know? So I don't know what stochastic book smarts means, but nice. I understand the caution, but wouldn't mutually assured destruction apply? I can't imagine a graduate student would say anything at the risk of their reputation. It doesn't have to be a graduate student. The way I imagine it happening is that another student who hadn't used the services but had known of my VODs or my clips or my story brings it to somebody who, like, for instance, let's look at how Rose Wrist or Pisca responded to what I did, right? A lot of people have very, very strong feelings about the negative aspect of what it is that I did. They believe that it undermines the education system. It's a huge part of why institutional trust is so low, et cetera, et cetera. And there are a lot of these people in academia, you know, so all it takes is you get that information to the right person with the right amount of time and willingness to pursue it, like maybe a TA or a professor or somebody in the administration, and it would be trivial for them to make a scene out of it and get me in trouble, even if I had been forthcoming about that with my admissions officer or with my other professors and stuff. Really, it only takes one person to decide to make it their cause to cause harm to me, you know, because of that. And I think it would be easy for it to happen. And that's what I'm talking about. I'm not worried about some person I worked with before. I'm worried about the average person. Ethically dubious territory or just unethical? Are you not sure? The thing that I struggle with is when I talk about this, I generally say unethical. When I'm talking about my broader work experience, though, I'm going to say ethically dubious, because the difficult thing is kind of like with these pedophilia discussions. There are interesting discussions to be had on the topic of pedophilia, and it's not all going to, like, necessarily... It's just difficult because there are shades of gray and things that we're going to talk about if we talk about, like, my work history. Like, is it unethical that I helped people edit their papers, even if that was a large part of what I did? Is it unethical if a lot of what I did was in the capacity as a tutor? Like, I don't think people are capable of drawing grays there in the way that I draw grays there as somebody that did the work. And I feel like people are kind of predisposed to take an all or nothing position on it being unethical before we've even had the conversation. Therefore, I just usually don't have the conversation with people. So yes, ethically dubious territory, because some parts very clearly cross the line and other parts definitely don't cross the line. And I think if we did an honest tally of those, I'm not sure where it would come out. Would you support right to be forgotten laws like in the UK? I don't think that would help me. But yeah, you guys should probably have that. I think it's a good thing in the US. Yeah, that's how I see it. No going back away from the phenomena, only through it. Privacy is going to eventually ultimately die. That's the way practically I can see it playing out in the future. I'd agree. Hasn't committing a major crime always been understood as a potential route to fame/infamy? Sure. I'm trying to understand how this relates to me. I wasn't committing major crimes. In case I wasn't clear. And I didn't do it to become famous or infamous. But yeah, if you do something bad, it can lead to fame or infamy. I focused a lot on the mechanism of how that happens and comparing it to in the past where these things didn't exist and stuff. So that's mostly where my focus is. You can focus on that, but you're kind of missing the point that I'm trying to deliver. But we could talk about like this other string. It's just outside the scope of what I'm interested in talking about. God damn it, book, you're making me paranoid for you. Well, don't be, because I'm not putting myself in positions where that's gonna, be a problem. Some institutions will judge you, but if you're forthright with them when applying, I bet a few would acknowledge genuine growth happened. They would, 100%. The problem is they don't save me from the 1 or 2 people who make it their mission to destroy me. So that's kind of the problem there. I don't doubt that some people would understand and my explanations would be sufficient. Hell, I don't doubt that if I got in an hour or 2 long conversation with most people, that I could convince that to most people after not doing essay work for a while. It's just that doesn't save me for the one person I can't convince or the one person I can't speak with, right? Not gonna lie, I was scrolling through just chatting, and in my opinion, you kind of look like Greek God X, Lamau. Yeah, I mean, a little bit. I've been told I look a little bit like JonTron as well. You can pick a variety of slightly overweight, grubby creators with floofy hair, and we can find one of us with some facial hair, I suppose, as well. Okay, fair enough. That phrase just sounded a little like self-serving equivocation. No, and one thing I'm learning a lot. Also, I'm gonna double check this because it's something of a meme on this channel. I won't. I want to make clear, not equivocating. I'm likening a lot of the time. So I'm learning to use that as a little bit of a change of my language to help me communicate things, because I'll often make analogies or comparisons, and I don't mean to equivocate as in to, and this is an important thing to note, equivocate doesn't mean to make things equal, to pretend like they're equal. Equivocation is kind of putting a smoke screen around how things are related to each other or the scale of things, right? It's more about kind of deceiving than it is making a statement that is meant to make one thing at the same level as another thing. So it's one thing to keep in mind with that particular word, because it's used wrong on Twitch quite a bit. And it's something that we've talked about before on stream. But yeah, I'm going to start saying liken more, because a lot of the time I'm just likening things. I don't mean to equivocate or do anything like that. I thought that writing help and editing is usually accepted, writing other people's papers or not. I feel like there could be some Nirvana fallacy cope going on. Let me just check what it is you're talking about, because I don't really speak debate language. The informal fallacy of comparing actual things with unrealistic, idealized alternatives. I don't know. Can you use words? Can we use normie words to explain your point to me? Because even if I understand what Nirvana fallacy is, I'm left unclear as to what it is that we're talking about here. Like if you're like, well, on this topic in particular, I think that some people accept some things, other people don't accept some things. I'm feeling a Nirvana fallacy. I'm feeling it. Yes, quite a Nirvana fallacious situation. Like, okay, wait, what parts are Nirvana fallacy? What parts are you talking about? Because I don't know. English doctor, yeah, do you speak it? You were saying that stochastic terrorists are compelled. I actually didn't even talk about stochastic terrorists at all. So that's kind of red flag number one in terms of your interpretation of what I'm saying. Because I just said straight up terrorists. I didn't even use this word. Stochastic terrorists are compelled by media fame they can acquire. No, just regular terrorists. Like, and not even terrorists, like, generally. Like, I think fame-seeking terrorists, yeah. Seeming to imply that this is a modern phenomena, but I was questioning if it is really that new. I think the prevalence of it is new. I was talking with this about this with some friends. I think one problem that I have that I really want to work on is sometimes I immediately know at the beginning of a conversation that I don't want to have a conversation. Usually my brain tells me the right word to describe it is boring. So for instance, if you and I were talking like one-on-one and you were telling me about this modern phenomena thing, it would be an example of like where if I had a button that I could press to be like, nope, that's boring, don't want to talk about that line of things, I would immediately press it. Because like, I don't want to get into some discussion about the history of terrorism and how terrorism has always been a thing and different people have committed terroristic acts to benefit their causes and use the media to like, I think I pointed a general thing. And a lot of the time when people want to go into like deep specifics to prove one point, it's a point that doesn't really have much to do with what I'm talking about. So like we could prove that terrorists use media fame in the past and it would do nothing to address the broader point that I have about how there are cultural things going on right now that enable people to more easily achieve fame and these sorts of things through other means. Like I'm not the only person saying that in particular. And if you have a problem with it, that's totally fine. I just don't really want to argue about it. Because like, unlike a lot of these debate people, I genuinely usually just don't enjoy arguing. Like, I have to really be in the mood for it. A lot of the time when I'm on stream, I'm not in the mood for it. And another thing is, arguing with you guys in this format fucking sucks. Like when I bring people on and we do a voice call and we talk with each other, I feel like we resolve stuff or realize we can't resolve stuff within like 10 minutes. Like within 10 minutes, I know that like, oh, you won't be convinced out of this thing at all. And I completely disagree with it. So the conversation's over. Or, oh, okay, so you had a semantic problem with what I had said and now we've realized that. Or like, oh, you said that your point was a capital A, but it was actually like a lowercase b, and I don't disagree with lowercase b. And if I knew it was lowercase b, I wouldn't invite you on to talk about it. So, I mean, like, all of that just contributes to just not being interested in a lot of these points. Like finding the perfect definition of writing a paper for someone versus editing. Sure. Homie consulted the debate bro thesaurus. Yeah, maybe. Does Sneako research mean that we are going to react to some of his content? I'm kind of new around here. It might. Basically, I just put his name in the title because I didn't really have a title. And I did talk a little bit about how research has been going into his conversation, what's been difficult about that. Like, if I give you guys a TLDR on the Sneako research I've done so far, Sneako reminds me of like a much younger me. Like the me that existed right around when I was like in and leaving high school. I had this very strong feeling that like my parents, my counselors, my teachers, everybody, most people were living in a kind of like, they were kind of like NPCs. Like I always imagine life as kind of like a video game that you spawn into. And we've kind of been creating systems to make the video game more playable and make the characters a little bit more controllable and you know, rein them in over time. So like the second that you spawn in, we make sure usually that there are going to be some protections for you. So like we immediately give you all the patches, all the patch notes and whatever for the shit that's been happening. Like, all right, so at you know, so many months in, we got to give you the measles vaccine because holy fuck, you really don't want measles. Then we give you this polio vaccine when you're older because fuck, man, polio, that was fucking awful. That fucking 7.34 patch, nutty, dude. Polio fucking OP. So we're going to give you that patch. We're also going to enroll you in like education because holy shit, the world building is fucking insane. We've done so much in the last like few hundred years. We're living in an age, right? And so like we do all these things to kind of help new characters into the game and whatever, but there were also measures I saw that maybe were meant to kind of rein in the older members of the game that started very early on. So it seemed like there were a lot of concepts implanted into us to make us think that our options were a lot more limited. So like when I was constantly told that I would need college, like abstractly, like, bro, you don't even know what I want to do with my life. You're telling me I got to go to college? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Like, what if I want to be a fucking plumber? Oh, well then go to a trade school. Like, okay, but you were just telling me that I should go to like, I don't know about that. And I'm like looking around, I'm like, yo, are you getting scholarships for this shit? Nah, bro, I got the FAFSA, man. I get fucking grants and shit. Yeah, but you have to like pay that shit back. Like, don't you want to like get a scholarship and like write the paper for it and shit? Man, I'm not writing no fucking paper, dude. I get free money. Like, no, that's not free money. You're going to have to pay that back. That's a shit ton of money. Like, if you multiply that over 4 years, you're going to have like 6 figures of debt. What do you mean? That's like a fucking house. Like, nah, man. But, you know, people that go to college, on average, they make like this % more. So I'm sure that if I go to college, man, shit will work out. It will be whatever. It'll be like a car payment. Like, yeah, but then you have interest and that shit lasts for, like, people weren't thinking. And it seemed really normal to just like not question what it was that everybody was being told to do. And I was like sitting over here making a ton of money with papers. And I'm like, why don't I just keep doing papers? I even asked my teachers. That's how fucking ballsy I was back then. I was honest with my teachers about what I was doing for work. I was like, dude, thanks for teaching me all this shit in English class, because I am making hella money off of this. You know, like I was just straight up with my teachers, like, why would I do some shitty fucking job if I can do this and make this much money and it's scalable and stuff and like whatever, like, and nobody would really engage with me. And it felt like everybody was kind of like operating within a very limited paradigm of understanding the way the world was working. And I was reading books like fucking Rich Dad, Poor Dad and 4 Hour Work Week and all this other fucking entrepreneur shit. And I was like, yo, be an entrepreneur, fucking live in Thailand, cheap fucking place, hella money to spend, bitches with dicks. Like, bro, come on now. Like, and like, there wasn't that red pill bullshit, but maybe if there was at the time, I'd be on the anti-woman kick too. And I'd be like, dude, bitches know their place in the East, bro. The fucking Orient, that's where it's at. Fucking Eastern Europe. They haven't been poisoned by this fucking pampered Western feminized baloney giving fucking power to the women, bro. Like, I could easily see how I would have been duped into that stupid shit if that was what I was reading as well. Because when you feel like you're so alone, that you feel like you're seeing the world in a way that nobody else sees it, when somebody tries to like reach you and kind of pop through that bubble and like awaken you to something, you reject it because you think the hand that's reaching in there is a hand of somebody who's controlled by the system and is an agent of the system. So you have this kind of mindset where it's very easy to dismiss dissenting opinions. And you could surround yourself with dissenting opinions. You're of the belief that the majority of people do not believe in what you believe in. So if you're friends with people, you're necessarily going to be surrounded by people that disagree with you. So you feel like, I'm in an environment that is not an echo chamber. Everybody disagrees with me. The world disagrees with me. I am in a personal fight against the world and against culture. And that's my place. And part of that war is going to be rejecting the messaging that you're trying to send me and the indications you're trying to give me that I might be incorrect. And I see all of that in Sneako. I think what Sneako hasn't had are certain like reality experiences that kind of shake that, right? Because I think a lot of people run into a place where life gets difficult or things get difficult, and that cage is rattled and you realize you're in a cage of a different making. One thing that I like that Steven said is like, you're just a sheep of a different herd. And it's completely true. When I was living in Thailand and I was trying to make friends with all the digital nomad people, which are people who basically worked remotely at a time where that wasn't as popular as it is now with the pandemic. A lot of them were constantly hyped on fucking, bro, so fucking Andy and we're doing this fucking thing at the Farang bar. And we're going to be talking about fucking big ideas, bro. Fucking, you won't get that. Khan said that he's got this fucking marketing plan and he's going to be hosting a webinar. It's only like fucking, you know, like 1,000 baht, bro. And he's doing it on the cheap for the people that are here and like blah, blah, blah. It was constantly about these businesses and shit. And like, it was the same as with Sneako. It's people like drop shipping shit and like, you know, doing these kinds of cheapo businesses where they're paying somebody in the Philippines to do the majority of the work. They're following the outline laid out in a book called 4 Hour Work Week, where you're basically pawning off all of the labor onto very, very cheap labor in other countries and utilizing that kind of economic arbitrage arbitrage where people cost different amounts of money to make your economic slaves in different countries. Every country has economic slaves that are stuck in the system. You're outside the system. Utilize the economic slavery, but do it in such a way where you're getting cheaper slaves. That's kind of like the interpretation I got of it, even if that's super cynical. And you're kind of just applying this concept to everything. So like in terms of women, well, women have a very high self-worth in the United States in the same way that workers have a higher idea of self-worth in the United States. And Europeans have a higher idea of self-worth. So what you have to do is you have to go to a place where your expectations and where you're at are at a Western standard, but you find people that are at a different standard in a different place. So a lot like hiring a Filipino worker to work for $5 an hour, you're going to find some woman that is easier to buy off in a country where it's easier to buy a lavish lifestyle so you can stretch that dollar. And I think that's a lot of what's going on with like Andrew Tate and stuff. And so I just see a lot of parallels, the life that I used to live and some of the things I used to believe in. And that's why I feel like it'll be good to do. And maybe Sneako will see it. Maybe I could talk to Sneako. And like, I feel like as opposed to Steven or the other people that I see giving him pushback, I feel like they're not coming from a place of like really understanding him and meeting him where he is. And I feel like I could maybe do that, but he hasn't responded to DM, so who knows? What did your teacher say? They gave me advice that would have actually been helpful today that I actually agree with, which is like, hey, you're really smart, okay? You have a lot of things that you could do. You have a lot more successful, non-gambling paths that you could take. And I think what you're doing now has repercussions you don't fully understand right now, but you will when you're older. And the years that you will have lost pursuing this gamble will be something that you will look back on and consider when you're older, and maybe some of those have caught up to you. And that advice has kind of been true of quite a few different parts of my life, even the Twitch thing. The amount of time, energy, and years that you'll spend on this thing, the cost will not be apparent to you until you're out of it. It's a lot like driving a ship into a fucking storm to save time because maybe you'll get there quicker. It's not until you pull into port and drop anchor that you realize all the damage you did to the ship in the process, because you don't have time to evaluate that when you're in the middle of a hurricane. And I'm feeling the same way about Twitch. Like I'm kind of reevaluating things. I'm like, okay, where am I at? I'm thousands of miles away from my family. Before I started streaming on Twitch, I kind of came to the realization that like, I really like hanging out with my family. I get a lot of value out of just like dropping by the house and checking in on their lives and being fun with them and talking about stuff and getting insights from people that are living a very different life from me, who understand me and I can be myself around. Even something that I kind of bemoaned at the time, which is having people that do a different job from me. I was constantly surrounded and felt very alone because nobody did the job that I did or did anything like it. Most of my friends were wage slaves, I guess is what you guys call them, or wage cucks or whatever. They had regular jobs. They did regular things, or they went to school. So like what I was doing, the life I was living is very different. And, but it was nice to have different people. Now, almost all the friends I talk to all the time are streamers. We talk about streamer stuff all the time. And after 2 or 3 years of only talking about streamer stuff all the time, I kind of swung in the other direction, had coworkers I talked to all the time, and I'm realizing the balance is somewhere in between, as should have been expected. Like with the current bit of work opportunities I'm looking at, all of the work opportunities I'm looking at would enable me to live in California, either because the job is in California or because the wages would be so much that I could easily afford to live in California. And I'm starting to realize, like, damn, that consideration of like living in North Carolina, like you're giving up a lot of stuff you're not really thinking about. Like, one thing that kind of brought that into focus for me this week is I had a family member pass away. you know, it's a strange feeling. Like, it's just a text. Like, I don't get to talk to anybody. Like, I can't just like drive down the street and like see people about it. Like, cause I'm like way out here. And I don't, again, this is like with Sneako, like it's very easy. And I think this is like a general human thing. It's very easy to not see risks or not see costs to like decisions that you're making until you run into a situation that kind of brings that to the forefront. So like issues in Sneako's thinking might come about because he has a relationship with somebody and they point out his behavior beyond just calling it toxic. They say something that really hurts him in a way that is only possible because they got to know him and they got to know about his insecurities or whatever. Or he might fall in love. He might learn what love is and learn what loss is on the same coin after it flips, right? He might lose somebody that he felt like he fell in love with, and he didn't really realize he was in love until the moment that he lost them because of the way that he behaves, because of the way that he thinks about the world, because of the way that he projects what he wants to be into reality, because of all of these things, all of his beliefs and the way that he behaves. And it's kind of the same with that. Like, it's very easy to put aside the opportunity cost to being able to see family until something like that happens. And it's like, oh, damn, like there's so much I want to do that I can't do. And same goes with like coping strategies for feeling bad about that stuff. Like, obviously I can't just go and like be with my family. I can't make it to the funeral. But like one thing I really wanted to do that I couldn't, that I used to do a lot, like especially after I lost one of my close friends in the motorcycle accident, is riding the bike. Just going for an evening ride with my motorcycle playlist, alone, go to the ocean, and just be there and, process things. And I can't do that. I'm in like an alien land without the things that I would like, and I come back to like a house that's like not mine, and I don't have people, and I'm a person that doesn't really need that stuff. Like, I would be fine, but it's like moments like these where I realize like just because you're fine doesn't mean that you shouldn't have the thing. Like let's say that like you're on a number line and you're at 0, so you don't feel like it's negative or positive. There will be occasional situations that will push you into the negative where you're feeling like it's something that's bad. But if you're constantly floating at 0, it's easy to not realize what's going on. Like if you're in a hot bath or a cold ocean and you get used to it, you get numb to it, you don't really realize the change until something radical happens, like you get out of the pool or you pee in the ocean and then you realize how cold you are, right? Like, what you don't realize is that on that number line where sometimes you're pushed over and you go into the negative, if you were to change the one decision, you would consistently be at a high positive number. It's easy to not think about the positive change that could have come about because of your indifference and your comfort with indifference, right? And so like when I lived in the van and I wasn't like making a ton of money all the time, I wasn't taking a ton of work, I was like content and I was like pretty happy because I had my family, I had my motorcycle, I had my freedom, I had my office, I had my friends, like, and I had really fulfilling work, right? So I felt really good. And I was like meditating all the time and I was like really well aware of what's going on. And I'm like, yeah, this is like a conscious choice I'm making every day. There are things I'd like to improve for sure, but like I'm really content with this. And, as grateful as I am for the life that I have now, it's a bit more difficult. I see some things that I used to have that I don't think it's all that difficult to go back to. I just have to weigh out some decisions, cutting back on how much time and energy I dedicate in the streaming to dedicate it to some other job so that I could do that. And that's what I'm up to. I'm so sorry for your lost book. That's rough. Yeah. It's just like, it's just hard because, it was a dude who he had it rough. So when he was young, he was in flux with what he was doing for work, and he wanted to be his own band, and he wanted to start his own business and whatever. And then, so I related to him in that regard. And I was like, damn, a lot of people in my family, they start their own business. They start their own barber shop. They start their own, art stuff, or they do special effects as a freelance dude, or they do graphic design, or they do tattoos. We had a lot of different family businesses that people would start, and they'd be a one-man show and take it as far as they could take it and hire people and whatever. And he got really into drugs, and that was sad to see him that way. And then he got off of them, and he was apparently doing good for a while, but one day he just he passed away. So, and it sucks to hear that, because it's damn, if he really did, if it's true that he kind of turned it around at the end, it's likely still those decisions that caught up to him and caused it. But he was doing the right stuff, sad. And, I don't know. But, yeah, it's just sad to think about, dude. Yeah, I don't know. I have a friend that I was best friends with during high school. Since finishing school, we went down different paths. I went to university while he picked up a trade, which has kind of led us drifting apart. I realized after making some friends in the same field as me how much I missed him. Yeah, it's so tricky that life is designed that way, where you can go on for so long not realizing what it is that you are missing. Maybe it's a saving grace, what if instead of doing that, the way that humans worked is we're constantly acutely aware of something that's wrong and we don't realize it until that moment, and then it all clicks, as someone with anxiety, that's kind of what anxiety feels like. It feels like something's wrong that you don't know what it is that's wrong. And then, so you're constantly thinking oh, did I forget this? Did I do this? Is there some, you feel like there's something lurking in the shadows that is incorrect, that needs to be rectified. You just have no idea what it is. And yeah, if everybody had to live like that, I think that would suck even more. So maybe we're kind of being tossed a little bit of a cookie there by us realizing and feeling bad and regretting all at once, instead of being acutely aware of it the whole time. But it's cruel in some ways, because if you had some clear indication early on, you could have fixed it. But the good news about life is, at any time, if you put enough effort in, you can change things. Where you live, what you do, how you live. Sometimes you have to try things out to learn it wasn't what you thought it was. Well, here's one thing that I think I've been naive about, but I should not have been. So a huge thing that I studied and wrote papers about for people was behavioral psychology. I love behavioral psychology because to me it feels like the closest thing we have to trying to actually understand how people work and fixing them in a way that isn't hocus pocus shots in the dark that sometimes happen to land. It feels like a more consistent, oh, okay, this is starting to turn into a science. I like this. Whereas like you look at Freud and other stuff and it's all a bit weird and you're like, sure, some of that worked out, but he kind of like just had problems, and like some of his problems like happened to map onto things that were helpful. But anywho, I don't want to argue with anybody about Freud, so I'll shut up. That'd be an example of a boring conversation I don't want to have. Where was I going with this? Oh yeah, like I'm very well aware of how difficult it is to like change behavior and whatever, and that you need outside help and corrections and yada yada. But I don't like apply that fully to my own life a lot of the time. And the older I'm getting, and I think this is part of why, I felt like I had a lot of will and like ability to do things the younger I was. Like when I was like 6 or 7 years old, it always felt to me like I got like isekai'd. Like I had like died and then I woke up in like a young person's body, and I had died at like an old age. That's what it felt like when I was like 6 and stuff, when like consciousness was really starting to pick up. Like I was like, damn, like this is so weird. Like I'm like a kid. Like I can get away with shit, and school and shit is like super duper easy, and everybody else is like struggling. They got like their thumb up their butt and like seems kind of stupid. Interesting. Like, how can I use this to my advantage and slowly wait until I'm 18? And that is deadass how I thought as a kid, like all the way up until I was 18. Like I was constantly thinking like, oh yeah, so basically I've spawned into this game. Something is different about me compared to other people, broadly speaking. And I'm basically patiently waiting until I'm out of the tutorial, because I can't do what I want to do until I'm 18. So all of my hopes and my dreams and my efforts and my future was on the day that I turned 18, because I could do what I wanted to do and I felt free. And everything that I did up to that moment was to free me from that. Like college debt, like, motherfucker, I'm a minor and you're trying to get me hooked up to some fucking bullshit debt that'll last my entire life. No fucking thank you. Like, yeah, like, no, I'm so close to the finish line. Y'all aren't tripping me up with some fucking, you know, traps that are set at the very end of the tutorial. I'm not falling for it, right? And it was the same way with drugs and stuff too. Like I was, for how much I smoke now, I was very against drugs. I was like, drugs are very clearly like a pitfall of the design of this video game. It is to trick people into getting addicted so that it saps some of their life away all the time. Like they take drugs to like not play the full game. It's like people who, there's like a slot machine mini game like in Rust, and some people will just only play the slot machine minigame all the time, and that's their experience of things. Like that's not what I want to do. And with a lot of these, it seems like there is a divide in your life, a branch between the reality where you took it one time and where you took it 0 times. And for hard drugs, I still believe in this, where your life, where you are an addict, that reality always, unless you're a baby in the womb, in which case you're weaned off before you're even conscious, where you're always going to have to do it once to be addicted. So like from a very young age, I was like, oh, well, you never smoke one cigarette, because if you smoke one cigarette, that is the beginning of any reality where you get hooked to it in this video game of life. You never ever do meth or cocaine or this other shit, because every reality where you become addicted to that started with the one moment that you did it the very first time. And so if your threshold is never do it ever once, then it'll never ever happen to you, and you don't have to worry about it. And like that risk reward made sense. So like that's how I thought about stuff. And then when I hit 18, the world is not your oyster, okay? It's difficult. The older you get, the more difficult it is to make changes and be like really aware and like able to change who you are and stuff. The older and older you get, the more and more difficult that becomes. And I have this weird thing where it almost feels like I was swimming Or I was walking in like an empty pool, like a pool with all the water drained out. And the older and older you get, you start to realize it's kind of harder to move, kind of feeling sluggish walking around in this empty pool. And then one day, because it gradually changes over time, you start to realize, oh, I'm in like a fluid that's not air. It's like denser than air, because I remember it being much easier to move around in this. And then it eventually turns into water, where you very much know is getting difficult to change and to make changes in your life. It's slow, it's cumbersome, it's tiring, but it is possible. And then it starts to turn into like Jello. That's the stage I'm at now. It's feeling like it's getting notably difficult to change things in my life or with my behavior. And it's feeling like I definitely need external help to do certain things that I want to do. Like I need someone to throw a rope and to help me get from one side of the pool to the other, because some of these changes that I want to do are not possible on my own. And that's really scary. And given the trend of it becoming more and more difficult to make changes and to do things in life, I'm beginning to feel that like that is a trend that will continue throughout my life. It might get randomly easier at the end, but I feel like it's only going to get more difficult to make changes and to be a different person. And that's very worrying. And there's stuff like that I feel like only age will kind of teach you. Same with this, like, I know I say it a lot on here because I want people to believe this. If I'm on a platform and I'm spewing a message, this is the message I want to send about being empathetic. But the older and older I get, the more and more that I realize that empathy will always come second to the self-interest of individuals. And everybody has a point. Empathetic people always have a point that you can push them to where they will act in self-interest and ignore their empathetic impulses. And that is speaking of the few people that actually try to live by that as like a credo. It's very few people that actually do. And then you have a lot of people that have lived a life where they've done a lot of things that are against that and don't see the hypocrisy. And because of this, over time, it becomes more difficult to change things about yourself. They're not even receptive to you pointing that out. Like Christians that are discriminating against people, right? Or like the lefties we see online that are, bullying people that are white or something like that, right? And you can't really reach them and touch them and tell them that it's something that they ought not to be doing. And if you continue to try to do the empathy thing, what's even worse is, and I kind of think of it like, there's this sci-fi book series about like a reality that we live in, like a sci-fi future world, where the reason why we don't see intelligent life is because the universe is dangerous. If other things that are out there realize that there's intelligent life somewhere else, they'll go out and they'll destroy it, which is why everybody that exists is quiet. And it kind of feels like if you try to really make your main thing empathy, it's a lot like you're broadcasting a signal in this universe, and you will eventually attract people that will take advantage of that. And that's really sad to see. There are a lot of opportunistic people that will see that that is who you are and will go and take advantage of you, whether consciously or not. And so there are monsters in these woods, and you are spinning around with the flashlight because you're kind of operating on a principle that you can get along with everything in the forest, and it's not the truth. You don't see it. And a lot of the ones that are really good at taking advantage of you that way, you don't even notice. It's the slug that's on your back that you don't even feel, that's like sucking all the blood or something like that, right? So yeah, I mean, just wow, we've been on a really, really big rant here. Recreational drug use equals loan. We all pay up eventually. I don't know about that, bro. My dad used to say, "You don't miss what you never had." Yeah, that's a good point for the drug thing. Slow boiling a frog in a pot, you mean? Kind of. But there isn't some inevitable doom with the pool example. Like you have to get into a position and a rhythm that you're comfortable with, and you have to have the right muscles for navigating it. Yeah. Booksmarts, have you tried shrooms? They help out with my struggle moving in the Jello pool. I have. Shrooms don't really do anything for me. I may have just not ever had good shrooms. LSD did though, for sure. But LSD also like destroys my brain in a weird way. And the aliens that I see when I do LSD tell me not to do it anymore. So I don't know. The aliens, when I do LSD, are very, very interesting because everything they say, I eventually realize, like, after the fact is, like, totally correct. And is, like, decent advice. It's really weird. Psychedelics are a weird thing. I work in healthcare and empathy is a 1,000% finite, even for me. You only have so much to give. That too, yeah. And the problem is some people are fucking drains on your empathy, man. And they're the people that don't benefit from it. Like, what really sucks is a lot of the time the people that expend your empathy are like people who, like, they aren't going to be fixed with empathy. Like, if it requires 80,000 empathy points to fix this person, it takes like 100 being an asshole to them points to actually fix what their problem is and to lower the empathy cost of dealing with them. Like, somebody who's a dickhead to people all the time and is racist or like picking fights and whatever, sometimes they just need to have the shit kicked out of them and it will fix it in a way that like no amount of being empathetic or understanding to them will. And that's like a really sad thing that I've just kind of started to realize. Like, even with people that have wrong-headed ideas about the way that the world works, like, some people need to like accidentally have a pregnancy to realize the value of abortion. Some people need to go to prison to realize the need for prison reform. Some people need to get socked in the face to realize that the way that they're behaving is incorrect, right? And that doesn't mean that the prescription is to go out and do that. I'm not going that far, but I'm just saying the way that life plays out, it seems like the solution to some people's problems is not the one that like I'm readily willing to offer. Like, I'm not going to go out and be the punisher and find the people that need that kind of correction and administer it. That's not my place. That is the place of some other people who are very, very mean. It's just tough. And you got to realize your place in it. Like, we're not all the Punisher, and we're not all motherfucking Teresa. You probably exist somewhere on the in-between, right? So yeah, I don't know, bro. It's easy to overlook the dangers of empathy on both ends. Sure. Any civilization that makes it to space travel would have long since worked together. I don't really believe that. I don't really believe that working together is like what is inevitable. Even going off of like our sample size of one. Like imagine if we found a planet of beings and they were just super susceptible to being given orders. Like, would we work together with them or would we enslave them? Like, I don't know. Same if we met somebody that was like better than us. Like, if they were like way more technologically advanced, like, is the immediate knee-jerk reaction to like work with them, or is it to like create countermeasures in case they start not liking you? I don't know. I don't believe that it works out that way, even given human ideas. Spend a lot of time helping people, listening to them, and even tutoring my friends. Last year, I got taken advantage of in a big way, and I'm still trying to feel okay about it. Not sure how people get over that. Yeah, I don't know. One thing I always do with any kind of work is I take my payment in advance. The moment you book my time, the moment you make me dedicate some of my life to an endeavor that you want me for, I will make you pay for it. That's because I got fucked so many times doing essays where people think that the crazy dude that they hired to write their fucking paper wouldn't have some means of trying to collect on that debt. Like, why you would try to swindle the essay writer. It's like trying to swindle a drug dealer. To me, that just makes no sense. Why would you chance that, right? Like, but people would. And it would happen at a very high percentage when I would do it like 50-50 or nothing up front and you pay after you get a redacted copy. Like it was so much extra work and people would constantly try to fuck me and it just became not worth it. And same with tutoring as well. Like when I got back into tutoring as an older adult, because I also did it when I was like a kid, I would take payment like after, and people would still stiff me. They would go through the social discomfort of telling me after sitting there, watching me tutor their kid for like 2 hours, they would then at the end of the session tell me that they can't pay for it or that they would get me next time and then like not, or constantly put off the paying for it thing and trying to book more sessions. Like some people are like shameless, man. One particular instance of this happening was when, I did a lot of entrepreneurial endeavors when I was younger. Okay. I will preface it with this. I had a little like side hustle where people in my neighborhood, we had a lot of gophers. We had a gopher problem. And I figured out a way to bait traps for the gophers and set them up that would like relieve us of all of our gophers. I would just catch them like crazy. At first I didn't catch many at all. And then I got real good at it. So then I started just telling the neighbors like, yo, if you want me to just like trap these things and bait them and whatever, like I can guarantee you that we'll kill some gophers. And if I get the gophers, then you know, this is what it would cost. And, there was some dude that was farther up the neighborhood from me, maybe like a block or two away. And I went there and we caught a bunch and I had been asking for payment for like maybe 2 weeks and he wasn't paying for it, but I still had traps and stuff there. So I texted him and told him, hey man, totally cool. Forget about it. I'm just going to pick up the traps then. So I went to his house on the motorcycle. I went and I started collecting the traps and he's like, what's up with this? You're supposed to be doing it again this week and whatever. And we still have gophers. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, we caught a bunch, but like, I understand if you can't afford it or if, you know, the service isn't up to par for you because we haven't caught all of them and whatever, like, I'm just going to take the traps. We'll call it even. Totally fine, whatever. And he was like demanding that I stop pulling the traps. And he was like, they're mine. They're on my property and whatever. And I said, fuck it, dude. I kept pulling him out of the ground and whatever because we're in a front yard and like an open neighborhood. There's like people out and about and he's like yelling at me. And he puts his hands on me. And he walks with me and is like pushing me and shit all the way to my motorcycle. And I put the traps that I had into the motorcycle and I got on it and he pushed me in the motorcycle like down and off. And he like pushed me onto the ground and he had me on the ground. And I was like asking for the dude next door to call the police. Like, I was like, yeah, like call the police, dude. I'm getting assaulted and shit. What is this? Like somebody call the police. And the dude, the neighbor just stood there and he watched. And then he went to the garage and he turned up the music he was listening to. And it was like at this moment where I'm like, holy fuck, like the world is a very cruel place. Like this dude could fuck me up right now. And there's absolutely nothing I could do about it. He's like way bigger than me. He's strong as fuck. I know he had done like, some kind of like, martial arts or whatever, cause we had talked about it before. And he is just like hot-blooded raging. He was raging since like the moment I came there. Like he would randomly be upset at his roommates and stuff and whatever and like be yelling at them and shit. So he's got something going on. But like it made me really, really afraid of people, man. Like people are fucking crazy. Yeah, it was just another thing where like none of this would have been a problem if I was paid at the beginning, in my opinion. But you know, it's just there's a lot of crazy people out there. And it's moments like that where like after that, empathy allowance for people in the world just goes way down. And it makes me understand people that are just totally not empathetic to people in their life. that even go so far as to be like cynical and really willing to fuck people over, because you have that or something similar to it like happening over and over and over again. And within 2 or 3 of those, I'm going to be doomer pilled, dude. I'm going to be a fucking doomer pilled person. Like I was when I first started college. Like I just kept getting fucked. It took me like 4 to 5 hours to commute to school on buses and trains because we didn't have good public transportation in California that would get me there early enough in the morning to start class. And I would get to class late and I would like tell the professor like, dude, I'm taking like fucking 4 hours of public transportation to get here. Like I'm leaving like before the sun rises to make it to like a 10 a.m. class. Like I'm trying really hard. And they're like, yo, that's excuses. This is adult life. You got to figure this shit out and whatever. And it's like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I guess that's how it is. But then like my counselor's not responding to me about getting the classes I want booked. I'm supposed to be paying for all of this in a few weeks out of pocket with cash. I don't have any loans. Like it was just like, Jesus Christ. Like, okay, so I'm getting fucked here too by the fucking public transportation system. I'm getting fucked by my professors. I'm getting fucked by my counselor. I'm getting like, I'm like continuously getting fucked. My shit got stolen. So then I got randomly fucked by that. I remember at one point I had stayed later than I normally stayed out at the college studying. And I was coming home late and I asked somebody if this was the bus that went to Orange County. And, he like laughed and was like, yeah, this is the one going to Disneyland. I'm like, all right, well, I mean, Anaheim, that is the general direction I'll go in. I stopped before Anaheim, so it's probably the right one. And it takes me way out in the middle of nowhere in LA. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. Asperger's moment or whatever the fuck is wrong with my brain. I guess I misinterpreted what he was saying. And but nobody else would answer me about where the bus went and whatever, because nobody talks to anybody on the buses. Everybody's afraid of everybody. Like, it's just like, damn, the world fucking sucks. And the worse of a state that you're in, the more poor you are, the lower the class that you exist in, the country that you live in being shittier, your health being shittier. Like, all this just really pushes you to be a super negative person. It's very, very, very easy because there's a lot to be negative about. On the flip side, there's a lot to be positive about, but like we don't have a culture of doing that. Like we're not really taught to do that a lot. We're not really taught to like be grateful and whatever. You're lucky if you were brought up that way, but I feel like that's something that most people kind of have to forge out on their own, right? And oftentimes it will get trampled by other people. It's just sad, man. Yeah, the world's tough, dude. At Book, that was bystander effect in action? I guess so, dude. The problem with your analysis is you don't take into account the fact that some people are actually psychopaths, and since they are great actors and can easily fool people, you don't know if Sneako or some other dude is not that person. Yeah, here's the problem is like... The problem is you can't treat everybody as if they might be a psychopath. Like the flip side of this is awful in a way that I think is more awful than being duped on occasion being an empathetic person. Like if to hedge all chances of being duped by a psychotic person, you begin with the understanding that there are psychos and you won't be able to tell them out. And it's a lot like conspiracy theory thinking. Like if you believe that they're such good actors that you won't be able to pick them out, and so therefore you treat everybody as if they're a possible psychopath, then you're going to live a very sad life. And it's not the kind of life I want to live. So like that opposite thinking is like way, way worse. Like it's just way, way worse in my opinion. But that's totally a value judgment. You could live like that and it'll keep you safe and shit, but like... It's not the way I want to live. I like taking chances on people because I think most people, and I think that like psychological literature supports this, like are not psychopaths. So if you go through life assuming everybody's a psychopath, you're going to run into problems. Like in this stream, I've talked about these examples, but I could talk about 10, 20, 50 times more of examples of where people were really, really positive. And a lot of this positivity I put out was met with positivity from other people. I could talk about all the wonderful emails I got. I could talk about all my wonderful hosts in Europe, none of which killed me or raped me or did anything too creepy. I could talk about all the people that have helped me in business. I could talk about all the essay transactions that went through totally fine and were totally amicable. I could talk about all the good interactions I had with people in college, you know, like, but the problem is, and this is why on stream, I try not to focus on it too much. Like, I think a lot of us are really well trained to look at negatives and have a negative outlook, but it is the positive outlook that takes more effort to do. And because so many people drop out of it from slights that they've encountered in their life, I think that's what we really have to push for, because that's what we need to encourage more of. And then we'll draw boxes around the people that are psychopaths at some point, you know, like, but like, they're an exception, not something that should be baked into the way that you deal with everybody, in my opinion. I just look for the red flags and manipulation in regards to psychopathy. Yeah, like you just learn certain things that kind of put a asterisk in your mind about people. And I definitely have a lot of those. I think that's really the way to deal with it. The human brain is wired to take the path of least resistance, and the way society is set up, the path of least resistance is self-interest. It definitely is, dude. But the problem is, you go 100% on that, and you will get fucked at some point, in the same way that somebody who's empathetic would get fucked at some point. Because if somebody identifies you as somebody who only acts in self-interest, you're just as predictable as somebody who only acts in like an empathetic way. And you can be taken advantage of in the same way. To kind of borrow that line from Steven, you are just a sheep of another herd. And it is predictable the way that you'll behave, and you will be taken advantage of for that as well. Because here's the thing. A lot of the people I've met in life, especially seeing business people in Chiang Mai, Thailand and stuff, a lot of self-interested people, they develop other complexes that come as a result of that hinders their ability to perform. They're not like Tyrion Lannister from Game of Thrones. They're like fucking Wile E. Coyote. They just have silly mistakes that they make all the time because they haven't developed fully as a person, because that's the way that they're engaging. They don't really learn about how to read people very well. They don't really learn about how serving the interests of other people can benefit their own. Like, they don't have all the nuance that these like characters that you see that exhibit these traits have. They don't see that success. There are so many people who are very self-interested that fail all the fucking time. And not only do they fail all the time, not only are they not accomplishing more than the average Joe who's acting like a normal human being, they're also like living a worse life because of it. The kinds of nice, kind people that would be attracted to somebody who's a well-rounded person are not attracted to these people that are constantly acting in self-interest. And they may even, because of their own idea of how much worth they have compared to everybody else, they may even think they're deceiving everybody through their actions, but it's blatantly clear the way that they're behaving. What I think about is like nice guys, these kinds of people that they really think they're sly and that they're acting very gentlemanly, and no woman is going to pick up on the fact that they're only going after the woman to like have a relationship with her or to bed her. And it's just blatantly clear to everybody else that reads the conversation, because they're not living life the way that person's living life. They don't have this narrative set up about the world that they see that there's a problem with it. It's the same with like psychopath people that lean into it. They'll tell you a story like, oh yeah, dude, that reminds me about the funniest thing that happened at the bar last night. So this fucking guy, like we'll see like a barmaid at a restaurant like slip and fall and like break shit, and they'll be like, oh dude, that reminds me, this guy fucking Larry, it was so hilarious, he spilled his beer because he like turned around and looked like this, and like I totally didn't tell him that he spilled his beer. He didn't even notice. The dude spilled it all over himself. He didn't even notice. And then he gets up and he fucking slips and eats shit. It was so fucking funny. What a dumbass, right? Like, oh, you're fucking crazy. That's a crazy thing to say, but like, you're so unabashedly crazy that you don't really realize the signals you're putting out to other people. And this goes for other kinds of personality types as well. Like when I live with Cherry, I am very acutely aware that some of the things that I say can be very grating or demeaning in ways that I don't intend them to be. Like the way that I would say it is like sometimes I can unironically be like the Seinfeld guy. I can be like, I think that's the guy from Curb Your Enthusiasm. I can be like that guy, but like unironically. Like there was a situation where Cherry had these books that were a part of a set in her stream, and they had a bunch of candles and shit on it. So I was like, oh, do you read those books, or are they decorations? Now, the way that statement can be interpreted is, oh, you buy a bunch of books that you don't read to look smarter than you actually are. That's not my intention when I say it. I'm literally asking if she's read those books so that I can ask questions about those books, you know, or to see if she's getting decorations, if that's just a decoration, or those books she's interested in, are they something that she's going to talk about on stream? It's like to just open up conversation, because there were parts of being with Cherry that were like awkward, and I'm trying to like make conversation, and I'll occasionally hit like an autistic landmine like that, and I don't realize what's going on, but she realizes what's going on, but she's not really willing to like make clear when you've upset her, which is like a her problem. So then she plays along in a way that doesn't communicate that she's uncomfortable with it, and then she'll mention it way later, and not to me but to her stream, right? So like there are things that would happen that I wouldn't notice at the moment, but that are grating. And it's just because I make comments about everything, and I'm going to strike out a bunch of different times about stuff. I'm not going to realize that something I comment on is something that you're very like, finicky about. Like you might be wearing like an old ass sweater. I'm like, damn, where did you get that ugly ass thing? Oh, it's my grandma's. Yeah, it's what she was wearing, you know, in her last photo with us for Christmas. And oh, okay, well, fuck, I fucked up, right? Like that, like, I don't know, I run into that a lot, so that's like something I try to fix, right? Larry David, yeah, I'm like Larry David, you know, so that's a problem with me, right? And that's something I can be blind to, and I don't realize. Is like me being a jabberjaws and constantly pointing out things and trying to make small talk can lead to really awkward situations. And if you combine that with somebody that isn't forthcoming about what makes them uncomfortable or what's up with what, then, you know, that can lead into a problem. That's also part of why I don't flirt with people. Like I'm very, very, very selective with who I turn that on for, right? And I make sure it's a very, very conscious decision that I'm doing it and that they know that, right? Like none of my hosts, that's why never with a host, never with a viewer, like only with Lycan in terms of other streamers, will I like be flirtatious to them, right? Like Lycan is the only person I do that with because I think it's funny. But like, you know, I try to be really careful with that because I have that problem about the way that things I'm saying being interpreted and whatever, and maybe going too far and stuff like that. So I just avoid all of that altogether. And if I ever pick it up from other people, I try to like shut it down or be dismissive, and I won't really play along with it ever. Yeah. So I don't know, bro. What am I on about at this point? Larry equals anxiety. Lol, I'm Larry as well. Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot of Larrys on Twitch. Okay, I'll tell you that much. That's what I've learned the 3 years I've been here. Treating people without empathy breeds people who aren't empathetic. Yeah, that's another problem, right? Like, and I think we need more role models. We need more people like willing to do the thing that's difficult to inspire other people to do it and show it's possible to do. That's generally what I try to do with the channel. But, you know, it's like, you guys like toxic shit too. It's like another problem with this whole Twitch thing. You guys really want shit to be toxic. It's like in life, it may sometimes be beneficial to be like self-interested and toxic and whatever, but not to the extent that Twitch encourages it, and not with all the benefits that are incurred on Twitch. Like, you can get so many benefits from just being toxic all the fucking time on here. And it's like, damn, that's a rough fucking situation to be in. That's why all these positive motherfuckers, they either break or they give up with it, right? And then we have a lot of other people that fall in the in-between and end up bending, right? Yeah, Twitch is just a place that puts unique stresses on people that nobody normally endures. Stresses in just so many unexpected ways on places that you didn't realize were quite as brittle as they were, right? Life normally flexes you in fairly predictable ways outside of huge, giant changes. And Twitch and the internet, it puts forces on places you didn't even know existed. Like somebody will make fun of something in a comment that is like a deep insecurity that you didn't even know about until it just happened, right? Or you can't conceptualize what it feels like to be in a room where like thousands of people dislike you until you're there and you're in it. And then you're like, wow, this is like a really uniquely awful experience that I don't think I've ever experienced before. Wow, this sucks. You know, this is like being up on a stage and everybody is booing you. And like, you know, and it's a lot like you can turn it on and off, like you can mute it, but you still know that they're there. Like you can put headphones on up on the stage and not hear them, and you can turn and not look at them, but you're acutely aware that they're there. And when you're up there performing with the other person, like if I'm talking to Destiny and I know a lot of the chat is going to disagree with what I'm saying, or they're going to say I policed the N-word or any of the other memes about me because they don't like me. Like he's like, dude, don't look at him. Just ignore it. Just keep going. Like, but it can be so hard to do that when you're up there, right? Like, well, why am I here doing this if that's the way that there is, like, that's not, you know, it can be so difficult. And it's just a unique situation to be in that, like, I don't think anything in life, like, really prepares you for that outside of, like, very specific things like doing theater in school or doing public speaking or things like that, right? Yeah, it's just, it's very difficult, man. It's very difficult. A lot of weird stuff on Twitch that kind of twists you in unique ways. I feel a big role model discussion brewing / happening on Twitch with the Andrew Tate meta and all. Yeah, I mean, maybe we need somebody to make their whole brand about being like a very positive influence, but be the same amount of like memey and like social media savvy and whatever. Like, I feel like some people are like that. Isn't Mr. Beast kind of like that? Like, he's generally, like, a fairly positive dude and whatever. Markiplier is like that. Like, all of educational YouTube, for the most part, is like that. Like, honestly, even a lot of the anime space on YouTube nowadays is like that. It's weird. Twitch is just not like that. Like, so much of YouTube is like that. Sure, the commentary people have their problems and whatever, and like some of the other places, but like a lot of spaces on YouTube don't have that problem. Like, especially since everybody can put forward an edited version of like what they... Vosh is not like that, unfortunately. Vosh is really bad at that. What do you mean? Like, Vosh doesn't promote any of that stuff. He knows how to market and stuff, but I think actually Vosh promotes a lot of hate, unironically. Like, I wouldn't put him in that category. Whereas, like, you watch Vlog Brothers, which is Hank Green and the other guy. I'm lapsing on his name. But if you look at the Vlog Brothers, they're both super positive. Like, they promote a message that I rally in kind of relay. I'm sorry, I relay to you guys, which is like, imagine others complexly. You know, I had a recent conversation with somebody about this where, like, you know, we were talking about Twitch chat and they're like, yeah, you know, Twitch chat, these Discord calls, whatever, they're going to be full of, thanks. I'm happy to have you. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for subbing. Hey, oops. If you would like to sub to the channel and get your Prime in for the month, I would certainly do appreciate it. It'd be good. It would certainly be very good. Same with donations. If you like the rants and stuff, let me know by donating, and then I'll keep doing more of them. Yeah, we were talking about like how we have some problematic people and whatever, and they were like, man, they're just, you know, that's how all these internet people are. That's how the chat is. It's just a bunch of like retards and whatever. I'm like, you know, you catch me at the right moment and I will agree with you, but I kind of want to return to imagining others complexly. Like, kind of want to return to this assumption that most people actually are smart about like the stuff that life requires them to be smart about. And all of us are stupid about the shit that our life doesn't require us to be smart about. And a lot of us are also dumb about the things that we're supposed to be smart about, right? Like, so I feel like it's throwing rocks from a glass house, and it's much easier to imagine other people complexly and like imagine that this is a good person in other regards and they're just being bad in this regard. The Vlog Brothers and other people, I think, promote that a lot. Even Veritasium walks the line really well between like noting what people kind of misunderstand about science and like explaining why the misunderstanding is there and what the path to understanding something the way it is, how you go about doing that. So I think a lot of like my past YouTube influences were like really, really positive. I'm happy I had them. Like I was never like a big fan of like PewDiePie or who's that one guy? Shane Dawson, or like I don't know, like more toxic-y people. I always really liked the nice people because it felt like, oh look, this dude's like nice and kind to people and he's like successful. Like that's a good role model to have. John Green, yeah, John and Hank, that's their names. Interesting how different our perspective is. I suppose, like marketing, when Vosh is saying the things he's saying about Republicans, that's not empathetic at all. That's not, in my opinion, being a positive role model at all. Like that's the antithesis of that. Same with the way he even talks about liberals, right? Like that's the antithesis of what we're talking about here. If anything, it's the opposite of the role model that I'm talking about. Now, granted, if part of your role model is pointing that stuff out and doing that, then so be it. It's just not really what I'm talking about. C. Nanners was a great role model. I mean, she did some funny stuff. She also made some funny Nazi memes or something, right? No, I mean, she had a video, I think, about lollies and stuff. It wasn't about Nazis. She just hung out on 4chan. A lot of people did. I really didn't watch any C. Nanners stuff besides the lolly video. Did you like H3? No. There was a short period where like I felt like I understood why people liked H3. But it was just before, like I kind of liked when they were fighting Matt Haas and they were doing their legal battle. That's what I liked. I kind of thought Vate Nash was funny. But all the railing on people in their videos and stuff, I didn't like that stuff. I didn't understand why people liked it. And then they started doing their podcasts and stuff, and I was like, is everybody liking this? I get if you like their reaction videos and stuff, I could intellectualize why those are funny, but like for a podcast, this isn't like a really good podcast. Ethan isn't like a very like deep thinker about stuff. It doesn't seem like he has a lot to say that's like super interesting. He becomes really repetitive really, really fast. Like everybody has a point at which they become repetitive. And then from the point where you first meet them to the point where you feel like you have mapped out what their general reactions to things are, kind of measures some of the complexity of that person in terms of the way they think about things. That's not to say simple is bad either. Like I think that like Buddhist monks and stuff are some of like the simplest thinkers, but they can be some of the most profound and interesting. We look at somebody like Destiny. After watching like a lot of the Destiny backlog of stuff, you see the things that he repeats. Like it's a lot of the same answers to different problems, but it takes a while to see that repeating thing happen. With Ethan, it's really, really quick. And then you kind of like immediately get an understanding for how he thinks about things. And it's like super duper simple. And unfortunately, the way that you gauge it is by looking at what other people say, which is another like concerning part about that. C. Nanners is a guy who played COD. Oh, I thought we were talking about the person who became a VTuber. Who am I thinking of? I'm thinking of like Nanners? Isn't their name? Yeah, okay. You're talking about C. Nanners. I'm talking about Nanners. I'm talking about Natasha Nyaners. Okay, I'm talking about the V Shoujo streamer lady. I liked H3H3 more when they made meme videos years ago. Yeah, I didn't like the reviews and stuff. I liked their skits. I thought they were kind of funny. But I liked the skits part of their videos. You are correct. I'm not even saying that. I am myself an optimist. I simply like to bring it in conversation because I think it is very valuable to learn to read the trait of psychopaths. I cannot say anything about Sneako because I only see snippets of him. He seems very emotionally shallow, but it is only one element and not enough. And even if he is a psycho, part of his audience will not be, so it's very valuable to engage with positive attitude. I'm happy you think so. Yeah. Honestly, I didn't really think that you were calling Sneako that, even if you had it in the same message. But yeah, it's just that the general, I think we get into very dangerous territory when we accept psychopaths into the way that we look at the world. Like, I understand why he does it, and I don't think he's wrong for it. I think he really needs this as like a coping mechanism in his life. But like Steven doing that, and we've talked about this before on stream and back and forth. It's like, I think that Steven deals with enough like proper crazy people that will really fuck him up and fuck people he loves up, that like he has to be super guarded, and like he has to have these coping strategies that like take malicious people into account, because he's gonna be right enough times for it to make sense to do it. But the average person, I don't think, is in that situation. I think it's people in extraordinary situations that have to worry about that. People working in entertainment or like high level finance or like very competitive industries, or like in very, very poor places. Like it's got to be people in like fringes that really have to like operate that way. But I think it's a coping mechanism that I don't find is something I'd want to pass on to the average person. C-Nanners is a funny, gentle guy though. Okay, cool. I have no idea who that is. Do you think the conversation is over when they begin repeating themselves? No, not at all. Not at all. I think it is the beginning of a new kind of conversation. Like, one thing I have, and I'm going to keep repeating myself, maybe I shouldn't open up with one thing I've mentioned before and will mention again. Part of being a streamer is repeating yourself, which used to be a big pet peeve for me, but is less so now. Like I've worked on it and I've degraded the levels of how much that triggers me. Like I've said before, I guess we'll start it that way, that when you're in a conversation with somebody, whether it's a debate or you're on a phone call or you're in a business meeting, write down what they repeat, because what they repeat is going to give you a good indication what's going on in their brain. So like if I'm in an interview, in like a business interview, and they're like, we're so happy to have you, it really didn't work out with the last person that we had in your position. They were just like incredibly disorganized. They were all over the place. So for this position, we're going to need X requirement and Y requirement. And really, we need somebody who is organized. That's going to be like a huge part of it. So your responsibilities are going to be time management, and you're probably going to have to be here at this particular time. You have transportation, right? Yeah. And how are you in your personal life? Like, do you generally have things like pretty organized? Like, we're repeating organized a lot, and I'm noticing that. So organized is going to be something I'm going to pitch to you as what I am, because it's going to help me in this interview. It sounds like you're looking for somebody that's organized. I'm going to project that to you, and we'll see where we go. In a different kind of conversation where we're arguing about something, and you're constantly bringing up to me like I'm like, yeah, but I hear you about third trimester abortions, but like they're a very small percentage of things that, it happening. Yeah, but man, it's murder. Okay. It's murder in the third trimester. Yeah, for sure. But like those happen very, very, very infrequently. For the sake of this discussion, like I'd be okay with outlawing that. Like voting in a law that allows like the first trimester, but disallows the third trimester outside of some extraneous circumstance where like physicians sign off on it. Sure. I can agree with that. Yeah, I guess it's just like the problem I have is it feels like murder. Like that can be annoying to you, and then you want to walk back from it. For me, then I'm going to change from making pitches about what I believe or handling their various weird one-off points, and I'm going to focus on that one, because that's what's going to tell me if we can or can't move forward. So like, okay, so in terms of this murder thing, that's going to be at any point during the abortion, right? Like at any point, it's going to feel like murder, right? Yeah, I think so. Okay, so then we take all that off the table. No amount of arguing about the different trimesters or the different situations or medical requirements or what a physician thinks. None of that is going to matter to this person because of that thing that they just said. And that's why I find the repeating thing to be helpful in a conversation, because it directs me to where I have to go, right? I don't feel like I always need to be in charge of what's happening with the conversation. That is an indicator where I'm just going to follow where they're leading me. Like, all right, if we're repeating this, let's just go there. What's going on with this, right? So I don't think it's a conversation ender when people repeat themselves. I just feel like it shows us where we're going to go next, if anything. Hi, babe. Welcome back. What up, rattlesnake? Yeah, you lost me with that. I don't know which thing you're talking about because it's an old comment. You probably answered this, but what drew you to Destiny? They did seem more negative than positive on topics, though it's the nature of their craft. What drew me to Destiny? I felt like Steven argues and thinks the same way I do when I write essays, which is, and this is again something that will come up in the Sneako review. I'll probably do that like tomorrow or the next day. Is now he's talking about it in terms of, and forgive my language, there is an autistic way of having conversations or disagreements or debates where you're focused on facts and figures and truth finding and then arriving at an idea about the truth of the world together and then picking that and using that to inform your decisions and to compare your two different worldviews. And then there is the narrative-based way of arguing or having disagreements or debates where we're supposed to put forward two completely separate narratives about the world in front of an audience and make one more appealing than the other. And the way that he plays that game with Sneako is he undermines everything about what Sneako's brand is. So for instance, one really, really big one is being a man. A lot of apparently what Sneako talks about and what Tate talks about is tied to the idea of masculinity and manhood. So if I can undermine your idea of manhood, I undermine your entire narrative argument. And I do it in such a way where I don't have to use facts and figures because that doesn't convince you and it doesn't convince your audience. It's not why they're here. They're here for the narrative you're selling them. And if I can show a contrast between the man that you're saying that people should be and what I think the image is in people's heads of what a real man is, if I'm able to show a discrepancy there, it will shake your hold of these people. So if you tell me a man is somebody who does what they want, a man is somebody who acts via their own will, who isn't influenced by other people. Hey, you got me in a room and I can't hear, anybody else's voice in that room. Awesome. Thanks. I'm happy to have some love from Australia. Very cool of you. Thanks for the 10 Aussie dollars. We count all dollars the same in this chat. So I will update our little donation goal thing here to reflect that real quick. I have to do it manually because oh no, I don't have to do it manually. Oh, okay, because it was a thing through Twitch, I guess. Okay, cool. That makes things a lot easier. You probably So you undermine it. So you talk about like, okay, so you say a man is all that stuff, that they're very self-interested and they do what they want and they don't do what other people tell them. But what about obligations? Oh, shit. Now there's a second voice in the room pulling you to the other side. And he's like, a man is somebody who is responsible, who fulfills their obligations to the people in their life, who is a steady anchor that other people can rely upon, a rock, a foundation to the people who rely upon them in their life, who does not fail, who does not leave, right? Oh, well, shit. Hey, I know what you were saying before sounds like a man. It sounds like the kind of man I want to be. That sounds pretty pog. I get to do whatever I want. But I've heard a lot of this too. that, you know, a man is somebody who's responsible and fulfills obligations. And yeah, like, is a man somebody who like walks out on their kid and their wife and like leaves that because they want to do something else? Is a man somebody who doesn't pay their bill? Like, yeah, that's a good point. You know, I don't think you're a very good man if you don't fucking pay your bills. You abandon your kid and your wife. That is kind of fucked up. Like, he's just shaking the narrative of it. And in my opinion, that is an easier game to play with most people, especially if you're good at the other way of discussing things. But like, I like that he thought in the other way, because that's the way, for the most part, that academia works from my perspective as an essay writer. A lot of the critiques that were made of me, some of them are political in nature, some of them are related to individual things with, you know, the professors, but they're always veiled in this kind of way where it has to do with the nuts and bolts of the arguments that we're making, the methodologies that we're using, the way that things are structured and organized, and everything is reliant upon rules and logic and explanation. Like, so it's a way I'm used to navigating the world. It's a productive way of thinking about things. And so that's what attracted me to Stephen initially. And the problem, though, is like from all the way from very, very early history up until now, and what was highlighted during the times of like the Romans is the importance of orators, the art of rhetoric, right? That when you're speaking to many, many, many people, a good orator is a good rhetorician. They're really good at speaking to the audience. The way that like the Roman courts worked back in the day is when you would have a trial, you would try to find the best orator, the best speaker to speak your case for you, because there were people known in the Roman Empire that were incredibly powerful simply by virtue of being able to convince people. Because if you ever got into legal trouble, which would happen if you left your job as a statesman, all of a sudden anybody could sue you and bring you to court, then you want the best orator, because it's not about necessarily the facts of what was right and what was wrong. It's about the ability to tell that story and to convince people of it. And that was what I felt like Stephen was missing out on, is people were playing a game where they were shining a UV light at him that he wasn't seeing, but all the people behind him were, with the rhetoric between Hassan, the rhetoric that was involved with Vosh, like the two people he was really feuding with and not always doing well. I saw that a lot of the distaste that people had, or the difficulty in defending positions he was putting forward, or the frustration with the way he would perform in a debate, would have to do with his aggression. It would have to do with his temper. It would have to do with his hyper focus on things that other people aren't really noticing, or like his improper, like kind of not, there's a particular word for it. Like, he's not responding in kind to the aggression that people are putting forward. The way he evaluates transgressions on him was unfair. So you might do an action that most of us on average would rate a 3 out of 10, but then he'll respond with an 8 out of 10 response, because he's like, what, you're gonna fucking make fun of XYZ at a fucking level 8, and you're gonna say that I'm a problem person for responding with a level 8? Like, well, no, first of all, that wasn't a level 8 in the opinion of most of us. It's not great. It is still a 3. You know, it's nowhere close to a 1 or a 0. But, you know, like, most people aren't going to get that. But then we have some DGGers that are like, dude, I've been here so long. I'm so sick of fucking hearing this. Steven, you're totally right. You've been talking to me about this all the time. It is immensely frustrating. I deeply understand why it's that frustrating to you. I feel like it's a 10, honestly. I'm fucking sick of hearing it because I hear you bitch about it. And now I'm convinced that it's really, really bad because I hear it all the time. Fuck that person. They're lucky they only got an 8, you know? And like, okay, this is a problem because he's hearing multiple people talk to him, and the people that are trying to address it with him, they hit this roadblock of like, oh, well, you just want me to be nicer. Like, no, don't cop out with me. I'm not asking you to be nicer. Don't fucking turn a very complicated thing that I'm trying to talk to you about into, I'm trying to make you be nicer. That's not the fucking takeaway. That's not even a good summation of the point, right? The point is not to be nicer. The point is to respond in kind. The result on the outside is you are going to be nicer in the situations where you were too mean. But to only focus on that, on that particular change is to miss the broader thematic problem, which is that you're missing the rhetoric aspect of things when you're talking to people. You're forgetting how you're being perceived by the people that you're talking to. You are so focused on the logic and the nuts and bolts of the arguments that you're putting forward that you are failing to see how both what you are saying and how the person across from you, what they are saying, is being interpreted by the average person, by the not you, by the person who perhaps is interpreting things in the narrative way, or who perhaps is not on the same page of the logic that you found important in a statement. They're focused on something else, right? If you use a rape cage example, there is a significant number of people that will be focused on the rape cage and not the purpose of your analogy, right? And so that really attracted me to this space, because it felt like if I can make this point clear to him, I can make it clear to a lot of these debate people and perhaps improve the conversation. So that's a really, really long way of answering that. But you know, that is that. At Booksmarts, if we all lived in a world where kindness and teamwork were seen as the epitome of achievement, would someone born as a sociopath end up faking their way to the top? Maybe. Maybe, but if they fake their way up to the top by being kind and being a team player, then I got no problem with that, bro. Even if we encourage third trimester abortions, we would see a negligible change to abortions is based on winning. I don't understand the second part of this statement. They made "What is a woman? Is it time to make what is a man?" I don't know what you're talking about, brother. I'm very confused. Destiny has always been focused on winning debates. Winning is a component of sophistry. Again, sometimes we're saying things I don't understand here. I guess that relates to your last comment, that despite being on Twitch, you've managed to separate the two of them. Winning is a component of sophistry. Yeah, I guess he does want to win debates, but I think he's missing, he misunderstood why he was losing a lot of the time. Is Mr. Girl lacking rhetoric? Here's the thing, and I hate this as well. I feel like this has been misunderstood. From my point of view, rhetoric in essay writing and stuff like that is the choices that you make in delivering a point. It is the tone, it is the word choice, it is the structuring of the sentence, it is the structuring of the paragraphs, it is all of the stylistic elements that you're using. Everybody employs rhetoric, right? It's just they're doing different things with it, right? So if we're talking about, is Mr. Girl lacking rhetoric? That's like saying like, I don't know. It's like, it's so weird. Like, it's like if I'm talking about the colors of things and you're like, so is Mr. Girl not color? He doesn't have color? Like, no, I mean, he's not transparent. Like things have colors. He has color. It's just, it's his own kind of color. It certainly attracted his little group of, not very little, but his group of people that watch him and stuff. It's working for some people. Honest to God, the one thing that really, really works for him that seems to be a defining characteristic of his brand and what people always tell me the reason that they like him is A and subpoint A. A is he says what he thinks without censoring it. And B, he is willing to bite bullets. I can understand why people are attracted to, although I think it's something that a lot of people grow out of for the most part. I think a lot of people will go through a period of time where they think it's super duper important to be very forthcoming in everything that you say and whatever, and then kind of grow out of that as they realize kind of that you can't really, that comes with its whole own set of problems that makes it perhaps not worth it. And then for point B, I always find this to be very, very silly. It's like, why do you just like somebody for biting bullets? Like, what you should be caring about is the main point A, that like he says the things he believes in, whether it's like, if all the things he believes in are bullets that he's biting, does that not make you like a little bit suspicious? Like for me, when somebody always has weird ideas about stuff over and over and over and over and over again, I put a little asterisk in my mind next to that person. Like, I think Joe Rogan actually put this really, really well when he was talking to a friend of his on the show. He's a guy with like a raspy voice and kind of like a crazy look. Maybe somebody knows who I'm talking about. He's some kind of fighter. But he's talking about like the moon landings and shit in a podcast where they've been talking about conspiracies, like the whole fucking podcast. And Joe just like levels with him. And he's like you can't just believe the opposite of everything, right? Because it's, you know, that's like not tenable. You just keep believing the opposite of everything. Like skepticism is cool, but when you're skeptical about every single thing and you're picking the opposite narrative to every single thing and jumping on every conspiracy you see, it's a problem, right? And I feel like it is similar. Like, bro, if you have like the opposite, like ugly opinion about like every single topic that we seem to bring up, that's like a problem. Like now that problem could be a variety of different things, but it's enough for me to put an asterisk and be like, something is probably going on here. You can be the judge of what the problem is. You could maybe theorize that he's doing it all for content, which a lot of people do. You could theorize that like he has just deeply different beliefs about the way that the world works and functions that is just fundamentally different from everybody else. In which case, is it helpful to you as a person that falls in the latter camp where you believe probably what most normal people believe? You know, like you can like that he says what he believes, but I think on the same coin, you could look at the flip side and be like, but what he says is stuff that a lot of people disagree with, and he seems to have a problem with arriving at these conclusions, and like I don't agree with a lot of it. So while it's cool that he's being honest, the bullet biting thing does get kind of old, and if anything, it's kind of a red flag for the kind of person that he is. You know, like I look at the fact that he advertises himself as like an empathetic dude, but he's the antithesis of empathy at times. Like he just completely fails to empathize with people. He seems to be unable to even give an ounce of give in the other direction, that perhaps he's incorrect about his opinion about the way that somebody's inner workings are ticking along. And he's operating off of very little info for a lot of these people, right? Like if you watch like one video of somebody and you're making very serious judgments about them, or you have one conversation, you make very serious judgments about them, I think you're a bad, and you're 100% behind them, you're probably a bad judge of people. Because I think good judges of people generally will have an error margin. If you have zero error margin and you're operating off of minimal information and you consistently do that all the time, that's another red flag for me. The same way that like always having the opposite opinion is like a negative thing for me. Eddie Bravo. Yes, it's Eddie Bravo. It's definitely Eddie. Mr. Girl is skilled at making very controversial descriptive statements. Interesting. Yeah. Like, as far as his rhetoric, I think that's a part of it. Is I've talked before about likening him to like a stand-up comedian where the punchline is discomfort, making you uncomfortable. And he's very good at that. He's very good at setting up a punchline that is meant to be uncomfortable at the end of it. You're not meant to laugh. You're meant to kind of cringe. At Booksmarts, Mr. Girl wants the credit for being empathetic without putting in the work. I actually don't know what's going on with that. I don't know if it's about credit or whatever. I think he legitimately believes it. Like, it's just, he has a fundamental misunderstanding of it. And this is another thing with like blind spots. If you don't let people tap you on the shoulder and tell you what's wrong and hear them out, you're just going to run in the same blind spot over and over again. Thank you for that. Very cool of you. Wow. Oh, wow. Okay. Well, I'm happy to have helped you. That's huge. Thanks for that, dude. I'll go ahead and edit this goal a bit to reflect that. Oh. Whoops. Can I undo that? What were we at? I think we're at 117 out of 1,500. Thank you so much. This is very, very cool of you. Oops, hold on. Let me focus for 2 seconds. Numbers are not my thing, and I'm fucking up writing this thing. TwitchCon fund. Actually, I'm gonna put content because you guys want content. And you guys are content whores. Gotta give the whores what they want, Booksmarts. Gotta give them what they want. If they want a fat, big schlong of content, then they're petite holes, then that's what you gotta give them. Sorry, that got weird. Erudite stated that the problem with Mr. Girl is that he is a good judge of people. So when he gets something wrong, he is unable to see it. Yeah, she's very good at talking like a therapist. In a way that I'm very unwilling to. So, like, if we talk about people that are willing to be flexible in talking with people, I feel like Erudite's really good at that. If you want help on, like, how to communicate well, I feel like Erudite sometimes can be really, really good at that. Other times she can be really, really bad. Like, I think we've reviewed a conversation of hers before where she's fucked up a bunch. What was it? Oh, it was the Chud Logic conversation. Yeah, like, she does some things extraordinarily well, and she's clearly a really intelligent person. It's just, you know, she has her moments where it's not so great. RGR is the same way. I love RGR to death. Very, very brilliant woman. But it's just like, you know, sometimes, you know, she doesn't have the best performances, but then, you know, sometimes really great performances. Like the end of the 6-hour-long fucking Mr. Girl thing that Erudite had. She had some fucking powerful shit when she spoke her mind, right? Like, and that's what I focus on. Not necessarily those parts where I feel like she's trying to, you know, find some common ground with them. It's when she's mean that I kind of liked. I found it funny in the last Destiny vid with him when he said, if you always think I'm lying, we'll never progress in the conversation. Yeah. Not to toot my own horn, but I will toot my own horn. It is my channel. Remember our conversation, Mr. Girl and I, is where I'm like, well, what's the point of asking questions and stuff if you already presuppose what my answer is and you won't accept a different one? Like, then what's the point of our conversation? I think that he hit a similar impasse with Wicked Supreme as well. I feel like that conversation still sticks with Wicked Supreme. I feel like that conversation has left like a scar on Supreme. You know, that happens to all of us, man. That's really like a touch the stove moment, having a conversation with Mr. Girl, you know, like, I feel like Steven's the only one that like really puts up with him. And I feel like he treats Steven a little bit differently. He's been being, I think, more himself with Steven lately. Especially when they're on a panel show together. But I think a lot of the time in the one-on-ones, especially early on, he was very different with him, which I can't fault him for. I was the same way. And being, you know, very unabashedly and very difficultly myself has led me into problems, so I won't be doing that again. But, you know, yeah. What do you think about my argument? Well, let me take a listen to it. Dude, by the way, if this disgusts you, I don't blame you. I have been looking for nail clippers since I landed here, and nowhere I go has nail clippers. I went to the store the very first day I came here, no nail clippers. Went to the convenience store, no nail clippers. Went to the other store down the street, no nail clippers. I went last night or early this morning to go get nail clippers, no nail clippers. I'm gonna have to start cutting them with like scissors. My nails are so fucking long. And I feel disgusting, but I have no way of clipping them because when I went through the fucking airport, they took my nail clippers from me, the bastards. So now I look disgusting. Anywho, let me read this argument. These positive traits of men like people like Tate or Sneako like to talk about are... Okay, hold on. Whew, fuck. This is a lot of likes. I need another fucking hit to get through this one. These positive traits of men like people like Tate or Sneako like to talk about are also traits that are good and preferable to have as a woman, which doesn't make them strictly masculine traits. Being strong, confident, and rich is good for everyone. So why not help some women acquire those traits if you think they lack those, and because of that, think less of them? Because they don't want what's good for everyone. Like, I think this demonstrates a fundamental misunderstanding of like Tate and Sneako's worldview. Like, currently, I think they believe that in the West, the power balance between men and women has shifted such that women actually have a lot of power, and they've done so by being something that they're not supposed to be, which is this overly strong, overly confident, overly being a key word there, because they're not supposed to be that as much as they are. So if you're telling me, wait, but don't they want the good for everyone? Wouldn't it be good to encourage? Like, no, bro. It's in the thesis statement for them that that's part of the problem. So no, there's no way in hell they would encourage that, because it's causing problems for them. Women aren't supposed to be that way. Men are supposed to be that way. And women being that way is part of the problem that they're trying to solve. With Professor Sunday, I have no idea about that. Erudite low-key female Jordan Peterson, I don't know about that, bro. I think Erudite really struggles against Max for some reason. Yeah, I think she has a weird amount of respect there that shouldn't be there. That, like, I feel like Supreme and I shook off really quick through our one interaction, but Erudite's holding on to it, and I'm not entirely sure why. Like, you could probably hear it in my voice when I was talking about Max before the conversation that we had, but like, I was really excited to talk with him. I thought, oh, okay, this is a guy who wants to try and empathize with people that are in situations and are part of groups that like most people just kind of offhandedly dismiss. That's cool. Let's have a conversation about that. He generally preaches empathy. That's a solid thing to preach. It's what I preach on here. So I'd be interested in talking about that. And then it turns out he's not really empathetic with people. He's very egotistical. He believes that his interpretation of the world is the only true one, and it overrides everybody else's. And even if he's wrong, he's not interested in changing his mind on topics. So, I gave up on it instantly, and I feel like Supreme did too. But Erudite hasn't, and I think that might be part of her struggle. She needs to kind of let go of that. She needs to let go of her first impression of him. Did you even consider talking to Erudite? I feel like she'd be super open to criticism / suggestions. I don't know if you know this, but I mean, I have in private with her. Let me, I believe, because she did this thing where, here we are. Let me make sure that you guys can see this, because that's the most important part. Boom. As you can see here, she did this video where she overlaid Destiny and I reacting to the conversation in real time and played out like the full thing. So like, she is acutely aware of all of my criticisms in regards to that conversation. Wow, this is the Mexico apartment, I think, before I left to Romania. Yeah, definitely, because this is in Playas. She's well aware of them. And they both give constructive criticisms to your girl. So like, she's well aware of them. I'll just say that she knows. Don't worry about that. She's got it. Did you Max is like conversational final boss? I completely disagree. He's just like talking to a wall at some point. I don't feel like that's a boss. It's just like an obstacle. It's like you've hit the edge of the map. The edge of the map is not the boss. Love me some Mr. Girl and Bookie Lord. I do think he is funny with the brown hair, is not the most attractive and stuff. Jesus Christ. I do think he's funny. Like, I don't take away his funniness from him. Why would you, in a debate, answer a question that you don't know the answer to unless it's going for a kill shot? I have no idea what this is about. Ask a question. It depends on what you're trying to get out of a conversation with people. I like asking questions I don't know the answer to. I like asking questions that I'm confident neither of us know the answer to. I think those are the most fun. All good. You have a mean backhand now. Yeah, I guess so, dude. You can't say it's your cocaine finger when it's all 10 of them. Where is this mythical land of no nail clippers? Romania. Is there a hotel in your area that has international visitors? The gift shop will 100% have overpriced nail trimmers. That's actually a fucking smart idea. Wait, you guys can't see my screen, right? Okay, cool. I don't want to dox where I live. Hotel near me. It's actually a very, very smart idea. Ho, ho, ho. You guys are very, very smart. Ho, ho. Ho, ho. Very smart. Ho, ho. That's smart. Yeah, there are. Okay, that might be a consideration. Yeah, because I really need nail clippers. I'm down bad, dude. Yeah, I need to go into the center of the city anyways, so I'll just get him then. Max becomes really aggressive and pounce when he smells weakness. Sure, I don't care about that too much. I think Max feels threatened in conversations with her. I don't think it's so much her, but Max is exponentially more cryptic and guarded with her because of her profession. Yeah, I'm going to say this because it's what I honestly believe, and I don't care if it causes problems. I've noticed that Max is like noticeably worse in conversations with women more generally. So for me, yeah, there's the profession thing, but I also think that Max, the way that he talks to women is really disrespectful. And he's given me enough ideas he has about women and relationships and stuff that I'm like, oh, okay, there's a problem with women here. And it may not be the same problems with women you see in Sneako and other people. I don't mean to say that. I don't even mean to say it's like to a massively bad extent, but he's got problems with women. And I don't feel like it's controversial to say that. She was enamored with Mr. Girl / Max. She has stayed several times and Max is her favorite creator / artist. Yeah, that's... Whoosh, I don't know how that happens. I just don't understand how the desire for women not to be strong doesn't come from fear. I don't understand any of that, bro. Max has a nefarious superpower. He puts you in a box early on. You can never leave said box because he continues to reinforce those bars. And that is what the entire conversation is about. You trying to squirm out of the box. Yeah, kind of. It's like having therapy with somebody who like thinks they have everything figured out like 3 lines in, and then they keep going on that hunch the entire time, regardless of what you say. Like, what's ironic is like for the shit he talks about some kinds of therapy or therapists, like it seems like Max would be a really awful therapist because he, like I've had some bad therapists that like I had to not work with, and it's because they did shit like that where like, they would hear like one thing I would say and they would see that there's like a problem there, and I would admit that there's like a problem there, and then they would say that it's that for like every single thing, and I'm like, you know, doc, when I mentioned like thing A, this like one of them had this about like fear of failure for me. They were like, oh, it's that you have maybe a fear of failure here that's keeping you from doing this thing, and I'm like, yeah, I do have a fear of failure to keep me from doing that thing. And I think that same fear of failure is also stopping you from doing this other thing. Like, no, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's something else. Because I talked to a therapist before you and one before that, and I think their explanations worked. They were saying it might be this. He's like, nah, man, I think it's that one. I mean, you granted me that it is a problem. I mean, would it not stand to reason it's a problem here as well? Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like 0%, doc. I'm just saying like, you know, like part of talk therapy is we're trying to form a narrative together that gets me on a path where I can fix shit. So if I don't believe in it, you either got to do some work to convince me, or like we have to like pick something else, because like we're kind of trying to build something here. And then I would like bring up other stuff, and it's like, oh, you found a hammer and you think everything's nails, because this is not really working with everything that we're doing here. It's kind of like how Max is. Like it feels like that. And I stopped working with that therapist because it's annoying. And it feels like, oh, you're not being very creative with this. You're not being a very good artist of your craft. Would you talk with Mr. Girl again? Unlikely. I'm pretty sure he copied that "why would you ask me if you won't believe my answer" in a panel with Dan, Chud Logic, Lav, and Mr. Girl when Dan asked a question about whether he would use mind control. Interesting. Cool. This guy travels. I certainly travel. Do Romanians just not clip their nails? I don't know. I like, or a dollar store. Oh, a dollar store might be another good idea. Maybe I should. Are there? I don't know if there are dollar stores in Romania. No. You know what I can do? I could just order it off of eMag and have it shipped to like a P.O. box near me type beat and do that. I'm just going to do that. I'm going to write it on a sticky note because I am getting sick of these long ass nails, dude. Okay, let's see. I need to place an order on eMag for nail clippers. Very solid. Very solid. Thank you, guys. What makes you think that? Is it because he calls them demons? Might be part of it. Loki, I think Erudite likes disagreeable guys. Maybe, bro. Yeah, people have said that about Max. He has said it's because they aren't as sensitive as men, so he can be more abrasive. Jesus Christ. He's admitted to being more aggressive with women in conversations. Great. Don't read my comment? Okay. I'll never forgive him because I was part of the preparation and was very excited to see it go down. Was very, very disappointed. Was somehow crashing against Wicked Supreme skews me out. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Granted, Wicked Supreme can be difficult to go up against if he starts going into interrogation mode. I've talked before about this on stream and to Wicked in private, so I feel fine saying this as well. Generally, I try to be more careful about the creator statements. But yeah, like I think sometimes Supreme can get into like interrogation mode and it can be difficult. Like we saw that during like the Prime Kai's drama. Granted, it probably worked out in Prime Kai's favor, which ended up being for the best of things. But yeah, like I think Supreme can sometimes get into that mode and it can be difficult. I don't think he necessarily did in the conversation. No, he probably did. I just don't remember it super well. Oh my God, how did I fuck up that last comment so much? I don't know. Plus, I was laughing at that other dude for typing something poorly. I might need to leave out of embarrassment. Well, one thing I'll tell you guys, and this will save you a lot of money if you ever want editors or tutors, is I tell everybody, read. This requires honesty, so if you can't be honest with yourself, fuck off. Read what you wrote out loud and be very honest about any point at which you stutter. Any point at which you stutter, 80% of the time, there's something wrong with it. You got to fix it, even if it's not immediately apparent what it is. That is my advice for very legible writing. And it has guided me through a lot. When I do essay writing tutoring with people, it's one of the first things I do with their work, especially if they want help learning how to edit stuff and make it more easy to read. Is I go, okay, so here's what we're going to do. I'm going to have you look at that essay and you have to read it without stopping or stuttering a single time. And then every time we stop or stutter, I highlight the fuck out of it and then we talk about it. Okay. So we stumbled there. Why did we stumble? I don't know. Maybe the sentence. No. Hold on. Don't shut down. Think about it. Why did we stumble there? Well, what did you do? Did you correct a word? Did you pause? Did you mix things up? Oh, I paused. Okay. So maybe we're seeing that there naturally should be a pause there. Therefore, we will use a comma. Yeah, exactly. We will use a comma. Oh, okay. And then we start to get it, right? Like, oh, I stumbled here because I used the word like 8 times in one sentence. Yeah, repetition. We got to fix that, right? What are we going to replace it with? And then we begin to correct stylistic problems over time. And that's what I would tell people too, because a lot of college students, they don't have a lot of money. They would be like, yeah, like I could pay for this editing as well as like this other service with you and whatever. But like, I'm like, all right, if you want to save money, here's the kingly advice. Read this shit out loud to your girlfriend. You told me you had a girlfriend. I believe you. even if she goes to another school. Read it to her out loud and tell her to highlight in front of her every single place that you stutter or you stumble, and then edit all of those sections. It's going to be everywhere you need to focus to change. Grammar, stupid fucking rules, I need to teach that to you. You're not going to magically come up with that. But like making it something that everybody could read is definitely, or at least something you can read, is something we can definitely do easily by just reading it out loud. Let's see here. Mr. Girl openly in discussion often tell others that he has his feeling about his opponent / opinion and to not try to change his mind. That's the definition of being closed-minded. It is. Anyone who says out loud that he knows for sure what the other person's feelings is fool and definitely have problem with empathy. He is doing performance. Perhaps, Artemis, perhaps. Just use scissors, lol. Everybody does it like that in EE. Nah, bro, fuck that. Booksmarts, would you leave the Destiny orbit sooner or later, or even at all? I don't know. I don't know. What is this? What's this? What's this? There's something. Been pooping out chat all stream. Thanks. I'm happy that you've decided to grace me with your cash, John Smith. That's a very generic name. Do appreciate it. You'd have an easy time committing crimes with a name like that. And there's a million John Smiths out there. Here you go, bro. Thank you. Thank you for the search in Romanian, too. Excellent, excellent. Yes, excellent, excellent. Excellent. Only 4 lei? Very good, very good. Can I get a fancy one for more? I wonder if this will show my location. Probably not. Surely it wouldn't show my location. That's not going to do that. Awesome. We got some good ass Unghira. I love me some Unghira. Man, should I get a... Damn, that's some fucking hardcore Unghira. So it's 4 lei to $1, just about. So we get this one for $1. Definitely all that I need. Or... I get this cool Victorinox one. I wonder if there's a set where I can get toenail clippers and... there are, but I'd have to get a whole ass thing. It'd be $20. Well, this one's black. But it's a very low ranking. I think people are racist. That's what that is right there. What about this one? Fuck, 129, bruh. I want toenail and fingernail. How do I know if this is small? Unghera cupila. Pila might be finger, I think. So this is a fingernail clipper. Unghera pentru manicura donengal enox. I don't understand. I'm gonna cheat. Nail file. Oh, shit. No, it's not nail file, dumbass. Manicure maintenance. That's definitely fingers. Donegal manicure nail. Okay, that's probably going to be fingers as well. I need toes. Can I get me some for my toes? Oh, this is toes. Fuck, dude. $10. Fuck off. Okay, I'm sorry. We're getting distracted. I'll figure this out off stream, okay? I'll get what I need. Just get toenail clipper and use them on your fingers. No, bro. I want my cute curved fingernails. I don't want my nasty ass fucking straight nails, bro. Then you don't get the corners and it defeats the purpose. I want them to look good. Didn't realize he was in Romania again. Yeah. That's the flag on the whiteboard there. Just get toenail. Yeah, not doing that. Pedicure clippers are for toes. Oh. Okay. What are your initial thoughts on Sneako? I did a whole spiel. I won't repeat myself. I'd recommend going to the beginning of the VOD or the middle or something. I'll try to timestamp if we hit $200 today for the sub for the goal, okay, I will timestamp this, and then you'll be easy to go through it. It is a rant stream. I probably should timestamp it. I've been really bad on timestamps. It's just like money return not really there to do timestamping. But you know, if we hit 200 today, I will timestamp. Okay, I will timestamp the VOD, and then you could easily find it. And we're not that far off from it. We're only $78. It's doable. It's doable. No needs to such gadgets. All you need is a sharp blade and some elbow grease. That's a good ass point, dude. That is a good ass point. Let me Oh, this is so sketchy. Oh, that's so sketchy. I can't even see what I'm doing. Ah! Oh! No, I can't. That's hard. No. I'm not fucking up my nails, bro. I'm just gonna buy clippers. Dono gold for toenail clippers? You just make more smaller clips to round them off. Yeah, or you get ones that are for your fingers and you don't play this dumb man's game of fucking cutting your nails with toenail clippers. Destiny's orbiters seem to have catch on to Max's BS, and it's made his recent convo with Destiny and his friends pretty hilarious. Yeah, which I'm happy to see. Didn't somebody ask me something about... I feel like there was a question I read and I didn't answer. Oh, would you leave the Destiny orbit sooner or later, or even at all? Why did we skip this? I don't know. I honestly don't know. I have no idea. I need to stop saying what I'm doing with stream because I honestly don't know. Like right now, a lot of my focus and my attention, unfortunately for you guys, is on my life. Okay, I need to get my fucking life sorted. Pardon me. I'm sick of having to think about money. I hate having to think about money. I'm so fucking done with it. I just want a good job. I can do it. I believe in myself. I believe I will manifest it into being by imagining it. That's what I'm gonna do. Okay, so yeah, I'm gonna manifest myself a fucking job. And then we'll see what I do. Okay? Maybe I do stream only for fun. No more fucking reviews. Maybe I do a Patreon where I say that I'll do certain, maybe... Oh, that's what I was meant to ask you guys about today. I don't know why I'm freaking out like a fucking troglodyte. Hold on. There are many options here that I'm considering, and I have no idea which one I'm going to pick. Number one, okay, I make a Patreon. It's all debate theme for you debate people, okay? It'll have notes. It'll have access to timestamp VODs and old VODs and all sorts of other shit. Maybe I'll do some VODs that are research streams, or I'm taking notes that will only be available on Patreon. Anywho, we could theme the Patreon around debate reviews to allow debate people to keep commissioning that, and it will work as a commission that everybody collectively pays for. So I'll figure out how many hours it takes on average to do a review, which is generally between 6 and 10 hours. And then I'll multiply that by my hourly, which at the cheap end, that's going to be what, 300 to 500. So maybe we set it at 400, intervals of 400. At 400, you'll get a review a month, and I'll do a debate review a month, and we'll make some big spiel out of it. All the other streams will be fun streams, or we'll watch some shit that I'm personally interested in whenever I fucking want to. And then if you hit, 800, then we'll do 2 of them a month, and, and so on and so forth. And then it'll just be a job. It'll be people on the internet commission me to do these debate reviews, and I do them, and then I'm done. And I continue to do that until I don't want to do it anymore, and I'll close the Patreon and be done with it. If it ever comes to that. That's one way of quarantining that. And, all of these things mean Destiny Orbit continues. Not the not doing it anymore. But the Patreon thing would mean we would probably stay in the Destiny orbit because you guys would probably ask for Destiny stuff, I'd imagine. Yeah, so that's my answer there. I don't know. It'll depend on what we do. I have thoughts. I think we need to make the Patreon probably about debates, but I can make it generally about the channel and make a bunch of stuff, but it would be so much easier if it was just about debates, honestly. Because like another thing is I have a feeling when I meditate, okay, woosa. When I meditate, I see the future. Okay, I'm like the fucking main character of Dune. I see inevitabilities, peaks and valleys. Sometimes we fall into a trough. It's as if time and all of the eventualities of life are like a landscape in front of me. And there are periods of my life where I enter into a trough and I can't see in front of me. Oh God, what's gonna happen? I don't know, I can't see. And then there are times where we climb up from the crevice to the summits of the mountains of this landscape and I see as far as the eye could see, deeply into the future, the many, many things that I could do. Endless possibilities, and had to get there. Okay? I'm getting a slight premonition that I do content that is not the Booksmarts channel. I see myself in the future starting a whole other channel, maybe not even telling you guys about it, and just doing other shit. Like doing video essays on like topics I like, and just starting over. Just being like, okay, I'm gonna get the advice that everybody gave to Extreme Dad during his drama, and I'm just gonna kind of like quarantine this identity of Booksmarts over here, and I'm just gonna go start like an anime channel or something. I'm just gonna go do video essays on random shit. Then you'll sign up for it and it'll be a random video essay every month or something. And if it succeeds, cool. If it doesn't, I had fun making it. That honestly seems to be like a very likely possibility because I liked making videos like that before. And if my job affords me free time to like write a quick script and like work with Tack or somebody to like quickly throw together and edit, and I have the money to make it real, I used to commission art and shit. I used to commission furry art, believe it or not. So like I would be more than willing to pay money to like bring into reality like a cool YouTube video and just lose the money. And then if people really like it, I could be like, hey, these cost money to do. So if you want more of them, maybe we do a Patreon thing like I'm saying to do with the debate reviews, and then we start something else. And then I can do both. I can stream on my Booksmarts channel and do whatever. And then if that takes off and I'm a fucking million subscriber Andy, it's like, whoa, hey, Booksmarts people, I have this other channel. It's really fucking cool. I don't want to do this anymore. Goodbye. And then just follow me over there. It's not like you don't get content. It's me being me. And I'll just make a new Twitch channel and it'll be branded as the other thing. That to me seems like a very real possibility right now. But the future is an uncertain thing. It's very far off. So the probability, I don't, it could very well change. We could enter another trough and then pick the wrong way. And when we come out of the trough, we're somewhere brand new and it's impossible to do. So I don't know. I don't know. That's what I think. Do you have a Patreon? Could have a goal to get X subs in Y tier to cover timestamps for videos. Just an idea. Hope I'm not intruding. No, you're not intruding. That's actually a good idea. It's actually a good idea. Can you do a goal that's like that? X subs in Y tier. To cover timestamps. That's actually a good idea. I'll be honest with you. I should... Yeah. No, that's a good idea. That's a good idea. I'll write it down. I'll keep it. Doesn't it rip it more than cut it? Oh, the fucking nail clippers. Yeah. I had no idea toenail clippers and fingernail clippers were different things. Yeah. So fingernail clippers go like this. They have a rounded thing to it because your fingernails are round. Your toenail clippers are going to be straight across. And so they're going to be way more flat. And you generally don't want to cut your fingernails with toenail clippers because they'll cut it flat across. And if you'll look at most people's fingernails, especially my beautiful fucking fingernails, dude, if I was a woman, I'd be so fucking pogged out. I have these beautiful, long, nice arched fingernails that if I took care of them, they could look okay. Obviously, it's not going to look, the best when it's not clean and whatever. But like if I took care of my nails, dude, I'd have beautiful nails. Are you planning to settle somewhere to work? Okay. I have a few different options laid out in front of me that are various levels of a gamble. The biggest gamble, if it lands, I would be set for the entirety of the time that I would have this gig. I would be able to live anywhere I would fucking please in California and be fine. That's the kind of like level of security that the biggest Hail Mary thing that I'm working on right now could get me. And if that happens, I will go back to Southern California. I will live in Irvine and I will be near my parents and I will live a life that I like. And I will have my motorcycles and live in a nice place around lots of Asians because I love living near Asian people. I'm very, very racist in that way. I think that the Asians are the superior race. Jesus Christ. How long have I been streaming? The racism is coming out. Only 2 hours? Those are rookie numbers. Almost 3. No, I love Irvine, dude. I love being around like Japanese stores and I love being around like nice Korean eateries and like I love Irvine. Irvine's so fucking nice. I loved it when I had an office there. I actually used to work in Irvine as well. I worked at this like co-working space. I like interned there. That was very, very cool. I very much so like it there. Do the Patreon. You deserve it. Okay. Well, yeah, we'll do that. Is Destiny Orbit a bad thing? I don't think so. It just depends on what your goals are, right? I feel like it's tough to say that stuff is bad without knowing what your good-bad distinction is, right? If you want to be as successful a streamer as Mizkif, it is a bad thing because you are crippling yourself. Don't do that. If you want to be able to make a living, it might not be the worst thing. I don't think it's going away. If you stream on YouTube, you could put together enough money to like maybe skirt out a living under the shadow of Steven. If you want to use it as a stepping stone and be a sociopath and whatever, I mean, sure, it might be a good thing for you because it's temporary. It's so I don't know. Like, I just find it's incredibly limiting. Like, you guys just really like Destiny stuff, and it's just like, yeah, woo! It's kind of like a kid in a car with, like, the new, like, Disney movie that they've watched. And they're just like, oh, shit, Mom, it's on. Let it go. I will rise like the wind and snow. Like, yeah, this is actually kind of popping off. All right, I kind of like it. And then you get into it, you start singing it. And then by like the 100th time, you're like, let it go. Wind and snow. Hey, do you want to go see that fucking movie with The Rock? I think you'd like that Moana shit. You want to go see Moana? I'm getting fucking sick of this fucking Frozen shit, bro. God, if I had to fucking hear that song, like it just, I get sick to it because you guys just, it's a lot of it. It's a lot. When I consumed it of my own accord, it was much more fun for me, but now it's turned into being a lot less fun because of the way that I have to engage with the content. Yes, do anything, experiment, make a funny e-girl avatar channel. Yeah, maybe. We'll see. If I have a lot of money, I can do whatever the fuck I want. I've always been particular. I have a bit of a taste for the extravagant and the fantastic. I've kind of always wanted to do costumes. I try to like hide how excited I get when I get to wear a costume on stream, but like I get very, very, very like excited with costumes. Like when I dress up as a judge, oh boy. I kind of want to have like a detective costume for our drama detective stuff. Like I like costumes. I want to dress up as an alien. When I was doing my own editing of the YouTube videos and like recording skits, I loved like trying to do bare minimum costume. I think it'd be fun to do costumes and make goofy shit, dude. Have you practiced your emotionally exhausted sigh while looking at the camera after or before taking a swig of liquor while vaguely gesturing at a critic of capitalism? I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. You crush the video essay game? Maybe. I don't know. I think it takes time to succeed with that, but I would do it for fun. I think you have to start doing it just for fun. And then if it turns into something, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then if you quit, you don't feel bad about it. That's what I would say. Like everybody gives you this advice, but they don't explain why it's important very well. So it comes off as a platitude and you more or less ignore it. If you do streaming, do it for fun. And anytime you feel a pull in the direction of not doing it for fun, question the fuck out of that urge. Really question it. And err on the side of drowning it. Err on the side of shaking it like an invalid child in prehistoric times, okay? You need to smother it. Like 99 out of 100 times, and then you will stay on the right path. Like a lot of the most successful and like happy content creator people are just continuing to do stuff they enjoy to do, and the compromises that they're making because they were uncompromising before are like necessarily going to be less. So that's what I would say. That's what I would say. California is not it, bro. Come to Texas. Fuck your backwards ass state, bro. I'm not moving to Texas. You let me know when you can keep the lights on, okay? Because that's what a real man does. I can't live with no man. I can't tie my boat to a state that don't even know how to keep the lights on, bro. Can't even give me heating in the winter. That's some depression type shit, bro. No thanks. I don't know how much of the stream I missed, but glad to have you streaming while I'm at work, keeping me company instead of making me hate customers in absolute silence. Yeah, I'm happy. I thought you were messaging earlier. I was reading some of your messages. I say read very tentatively. I struggled to decipher one of your messages earlier. But yeah, I'm happy to be here. Happy to keep you entertained. Have you seen the loner box versus bad empanada debate? No. I generally don't watch things with bad empanada. That's what I will say. I love my boy Loner Box. Like, I really like him. I really like him. He's very flattering to me. I do appreciate that. But he's just a genuinely smart dude who I think has like a good approach to figuring out problems. He in the words of Destiny, he uses the autistic way of navigating conversations and debate, which I like. Booksmart's VTuber arc incoming. We used to do one with like one of the default things for the VTuber program. If I was rich, dude, if I was making six figures, like I might even just commission it for the hell of it and just have like a cute Twinkie fucking man, wouldn't that be something? Not a girl VTuber, not some basic ass shit. What if we had like a really cute femboy VTuber profile? Like a really like, is swarthy the word I'm looking for? Hold on. Thanks. Hold on, let me see what you actually said because I didn't catch a word of that. Oh, it was a sub. Hey, what up? Hey, Bookie, have a great stream. Interested in your Sneako research findings? Well, you'll get them in a day or two when I do it. Swarthy is dark complexion. Okay, swarthy is not what I meant. Please redact that from the record. Strike that from the record. Objection, Your Honor. My client did not know what swarthy meant. I was trying to refer to like having like a dirty mouth, like being really rough in the way that you speak and stuff. And I was like, it's kind of like a pirate, like swag buckling, maybe like swarthy. I'm sure there are swarthy pirates, but swarthy is not the adjective that I wanted. Just joined. Did you finish doing the Sneako research? I basically have one video all done that's like ready to go. I'll probably just do that. The TLDR is like, I wanted to cover everything and be like very on top of like the history of all of his talks, but he kept having them and having them and having them. And it was taking a lot of time to do the research for it and not a lot of time streaming. And I spent a lot of my time on commissioned work the last week. So it was just like, so I'm having to give up on my initial idea, limit the scope of the project, just do one, have donation goals stretch for doing like live reacts to the rest of them maybe. And that's what we'll do. That's what we'll do. Gotcha, bitch. Nice. Booksmarts, I keep making suggestions and jokes and you take them seriously. I'm scared I'll suggest something terrible. You make a poor life decision. Just kidding. Nice. Little tan twink VTuber. Yeah, little swarthy VTuber boy. I think we need more swarthy VTubers. Can y'all name a single swarthy VTuber? I can't think of a fucking single one. Now that I think about it, I can't think of a single swarthy VTuber. I can't think of one that exists besides Chud's like weirdo one. Like, besides the punchline being that they're black, I can't think of like a single VTuber. I'd love an anime review channel. I'm sure you would. I think that's like a dying industry, unfortunately. It would be difficult to get into. I would like to do it. Granted, I would love to do it. It's just the people that are doing it now are very, very good and well established. I don't know if I would necessarily break into that. Because I see some people doing real fucking good shit and they're not popping off. Like Last Reflections on YouTube. I really, really, really love his reviews. I think they're really good and they're well edited, but they don't pop off, and that makes me worried. No, they're all pale Korean anime YouTubers. Yeah. There's one that's a Dunmer. I don't even know what the fuck a Dunmer is, brother. Dunmer. The Dunmer, more commonly referred to as dark elves in the rest of Tamriel, are the dark-skinned elves originate. I guess technically that's swarthy, but it's not really black. They're dark elves. Fun fact, did you know that in Europe, when like role-playing is like something that kids do, like where they go out in the forest and they pretend to be like medieval things or elves and shit like that, the dark elves, they dead ass color their skin black. And it's so funny to see in person. It's very like frightening. Like it's very off-putting as an American. It had been explained to me that they do it. I had seen pictures on the phone, but we went walking in this park and there were these kids in like robes and like they have stabs and shit. And I'm like, yo, thank you, Wolfgang. Pitching in some of your daily earnings to help out the channel. Aw. Okay, I didn't know that you did that. I'll keep you in mind then, bruh. Did that get counted towards the goal? Does anybody know? It looks like it did on the restream, so I'll just... Dunmer means dark elf. Oh yeah, that's what I was saying. We saw these little kids playing their game. And he's like, oh yeah, like at the schools and stuff, like one of the after school activities and like kind of like sports things you could do is you could be a part of the role playing thing. And then you get a role play. They do events like, every month or something like that. After school, you can come to the park and you can do it. And, the mentor people come up with the missions and oversee it, and they're dressed up too. It's very, very cute. Very, very cute. I wish we had something like that in the US. And then like, the dude is calling them all back. I'm like, oh, what's he saying? He's like, oh, the mission's done. They said that the prince has been abducted and whatever. I'm like, yeah. And then from the fucking bushes comes this creepy face with like the whites of the eyes just so contrasted with the black ass skin. And I'm like, oh, great googly boogly. What is going on here? She's got fucking ears and shit. And here she comes. fucking galloping out of the forest is this chicken full on blackface and black skin. Like, whoa, that's really freaky for some reason. Holy shit. Like, she went full out, bro. She got the fucking hands all the way up to the forearms, and she did the fucking ears and the neck and all of this. Like, Jesus Christ. That's, well, you can't say they're not dedicated to it, bro. Holy shit. There's a great 20-minute video by Patrick CC that describes Sneako's different arcs and how he ended up this way. That's actually good to know. Actually might be more helpful to watch than some of his conversations. Sneako. Sneako is going insane, but it's working. It certainly is working for him. I think he is going to make all the money that he wants to make. Ever heard of Zwart Piet? Oh, the Dutch. Swarty Pete. Yeah. I am. People G, Booksmarts is afraid of black people. Hell yeah, bro. Of course I am. I'm afraid of people to dress up to be black. That's far more frightening to me. Something about somebody putting on blackface is kind of frightening in a very strange way. But to be fair, it is also very scary to see a black person dress up as a white person. So it's not really about color so much as it is, that part of it. I have something funny to share with you. There's so much good whiteface in Atlanta. So much good whiteface in this show. Holy shit. Oh, that's a lot of... Oh shit. It's just disconcerting to have your face painted the wrong color, okay? It's just strange. No audio, TT? Wait, what? No shot, really? Oh, you don't need audio for that shit, bro. You don't need audio. You get what you deserve. Maybe that would save me from some copyright claims. I don't know. But yeah, the audio isn't set up properly. That's my bad. That one's probably the correct one. Can you hear this? Can you hear this? I can't hear it. No, do it more? All right, let me try and change this and do it again. Can okay, I'll stop. Well, audio would just get you DMCA'd on YouTube anyway. True. Oh, man. I'm getting kind of tired. I did a lot of ranting today, okay? I'm out of practice. It's been 11 days. Are y'all trolling? I hear it. Yeah, we do a little bit of trolling. Oh, man. At least the VOD will be easy to timestamp if I end it soon. Well, like I said, things are going well in terms of like getting things lined up for maybe like a job or at least commissioned work. If you'd like to help in that endeavor, you certainly could. You can always do !work in either of the chats, and that will get you a link to a Notion page, which explains my rates, how you would contact me, what an average tutoring session would look like, whether you need advice on like an interpersonal situation, you want a second opinion on a resume, a letter, an email, an important DM, or you want help with tutoring. You're writing a paper and you feel like you're stuck and you don't know what's going wrong, or you've had problems with the papers that you're presently writing and stuff. If any of these things are the case, speaking of which, I really need to make sure that I don't miss a tutoring appointment that I have that is not on my calendar for some reason. Oh, I probably have it on my phone. I just really want to make sure I don't miss this fucking tutoring appointment, because I have one person in particular who I keep missing the tutoring appointment of, and I gotta really make sure I don't miss that tutoring appointment, or I'm gonna look real bad, because I did tell them I'm gonna try to not miss it. Hold on. Monday at okay, there are time zone things here, but I'm pretty sure this is on Monday. Yes, okay, it is on Monday. Okay, excellent. I will write that down, though, because I really need to make sure that I don't miss that tutoring appointment. This is not inspiring confidence in my tutoring capabilities, but I promise you. It's just if I miss a tutoring appointment with you once, God ordains that it must happen, that I'll miss it again with you, and again and again and again, then we run into problems. But yeah, so I do all of that. If you have a job offer of some sort, work of any kind that you can bring my way, I would be happy to oblige and take it up. And yeah. If there's a project you would like my help on, or your company would like my help on, or anything like that, let me know. And that's that. I will talk to you guys soon, probably the next day or two. Can you tell me what level I am, Bookie? I have no idea. Sick Monkey Chamber. No idea. With a name like that, you're probably pretty low. Anywho, we'll talk to you guys later. I'll have that Sneako thing ready, and then we'll have some stretch goals for watching more Sneako content. So if that's something you enjoy, keep your eyes on the horizon for that. Join the Discord, go to the announcements channel, enable live alerts, and it will at you every single time we go live. Thank you guys for showing up. It means a lot, especially with me not streaming enough. I feel like a lot of people are just not going to click it. They're done with it. This dude doesn't stream enough. He's not being consistent. Yada, yada, yada. I understand. Totally fair. But you guys are the real ones. And same with you, VOD people. If you make it all the way to the end of this shit, you're fucking crazy. Or you just are lazy. You know, one or the other. Well, crazy or lazy. You just let this go, and you're just going to let me ramble until it plays the next video or pauses. And you take 20 more minutes to realize you don't have a video playing. I don't know. I don't know what you're using me for. But yeah, I'm happy you guys hang out. Thank you to the people who donated today. Very, very cool of you. We've made decent progress on our TwitchCon goal. It is expensive for me to go to TwitchCon. I got tickets to pay for it. I got the Airbnb to pay for it. Very nice. With a very nice Airbnb. Very lovely. Okay. I'm really important as one of the best people. I got the best people on it, trying to find me an Airbnb. It's all booked. It's all good to go. I'll be meeting some friends there. I'll try to make some content, try to record some shit. It'll be dope. And if you're in the area, you'll be able to meet up with me. Unlike with the TwitchCon Amsterdam thing. There were a few people who really wanted to meet up, but they were not there on day one. And so I did not go back to Amsterdam on day two. So they got fucked. They got shafted. And I didn't see them. I feel bad. But all I got to say is you snooze, you lose. Should have been there on day one. Hey. Should have gone both days. Bye, Book. I love the stream today. I'm happy you thought so. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good rest of your day. Stay positive. Be empathetic. Don't assume that people are psychopaths. And you'll be good. You'll be good. I believe it. I believe in you. I am going to raid Chud because I need to bribe Chud so that he'll play League of Legends with me. So let me go ahead and go to my Twitch to do that. I rarely raided lately because I feel insecure about my audience size. Yeah. When you used to have hundreds of people watching you, you do feel quite bad that it's only this many. It is a little bit... it hurts your street cred, hurts your soul. But I'll send you guys over to Chud Logic so that he can play Apex Legends with me, hopefully. If he ends stream relatively soon, because I'm going to be going to bed. But yeah, have fun with Chud. I'll talk to y'all later. Have a good one. Twitch chat. Now those fucking losers are gone. What's up, guys? YouTube chat. Like the fucking video. Subscribe, motherfuckers. That's how we're going to continue this. Tack is very, very serious about growing the YouTube channel. Y'all need to step it up. Those fucking Twitch goons are ahead of you guys because they got subs and primes and all this other fucking bit cheers and all that bullshit. You guys got to show them up, okay? There are free ways that you guys can contribute to the channel. Follows on Twitch. Who gives a fuck about that stupid shit? A subscription on YouTube, that means something. We can see that number. That's super duper important. So are the likes. YouTube's got a fucking algorithm. We got to trick that shit into giving me more people, okay? And that's on you. You're my soldiers, okay? This is a cold, cold world for an empathetic man, all right? And I ain't talking that Mr. Grow fucking foo-foo, baloney, fucking aspartame fake shit either. I'm talking about the real good, the real I actually care about other people because I believe spiritually that I will live in their fucking body and be subjected to whatever hell I put onto them, okay? This, whew. That's my rant, okay, YouTube people. I will talk to you later. Thanks for hanging out. I'm bumping the mic and shit. I'll talk to you guys later. Collins? Yo, you know what we should do? We should do secret Collins now that the Twitch people are gone. Does anybody want to call in? You know what? I will count down like 30 seconds. If in 30 seconds somebody hops in the live weight room on the Discord, I'll bring you on and I'll talk to you about whatever you want to talk about. That's what I'll do. I'll reward you, YouTube people, okay? I doubt anybody will do it on such short notice. I'll set a 30-second timer on the phone. I'll mute for it so that it doesn't trigger it if you have me on speakers. All right, that's 30 seconds on the clock, so we'll see. If anybody hops in there, I'll talk to you. If not, then you missed the slight exclusive that I offered you. Yeah, I don't know. I'd be willing to do it. We'll count down to 30. I doubt anybody will hop in there, but if they do, they will get the pleasure of speaking with me one-on-one, whatever that's worth to you guys. But it's been a fun stream. I love the ones where I could just rant and talk about stuff. I'm always concerned with these sorts of streams. I'll just run out of things to talk about and it'll be awkward. And then I'll constantly be looking at the clock to leave. And there's my indication that I will leave. It has been fun talking to you guys. I'll see you later.